let's get on to the Rift and see exactly what he shows us today. Thank you so much for the extra gift subs. Again, another 10. You're so kind, Beyblade.
And Salonius has been brought in. There you go. You can't just pretend to be just a viewer now. There we go. To the Rift we go. Listen to the gyros and go from there. I saw people yelling, and then the mics weren't turned on, slightly awkwardly, but there we go. It happens, guys. Important matchup again, as we've been noting. TT want, well, Ultra Prime want TT to win at least one game.
No, Ultra Prime want TT to lose every game, or they're out. So actually, it's the complete opposite.
That's what I wanted to. Yes, you're right. That's what I wanted. TT want to win at least one game.
Yes,
is what I said, because otherwise Ultra Prime are breathing down their necks on that front.
Yeah, the spots which we are determining with this single series are 2nd, 4th, and 5th. 1st and 3rd are already locked by LNG and LGD. 2nd goes to the winner of this series. 4th goes to the loser, unless it's TT who goes 0-2, in which case Ultra Prime beat them to the spot. It is a survival match for TT and for Ultra Prime. EDG would love to get 2nd seed, though, especially after last split, where they kind of bombed out by not even beating OMG. EDG need a much better showing. That Ego's wide just on to leave. He's losing a lot of health at this level 1. Can't quite get that level 2 yet. The Ash Seraphine is nasty as heck. And while Leave Senna is one of the best I can think of, he's fantastic stacking with it. It's against the Ash Seraphine, which is a real pain. It has been the power bot lane of this year.
It has, and again, it does feel like as of late, the Lucian Milio has kind of taken over a little bit. People are still banning away the Ash semi-regularly. It's not like the Ash Seraphine has dropped in priority, but it's, or rather, not out of priority, that's perhaps the way to put it. Kesh has managed to get a little bit of a split push angle going on. Again, the Rumble doesn't get to play shoved up for a little while.
The proxy. He's been doing this quite a lot in this matchup, and Cassante is able to do so. He's level 4. It's pretty hard to kind of kill off the Cassante early.
What did I say?
You said the split push. Like, he's actually within his own lane.
Yeah,
so...
no, yeah, well, I mean, you can split push in a lane, but yes. But yeah, you're right. What I meant was proxy farm. So what did I say?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's a bit early for that, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like I have misnamed the event that was happening on screen. Thank you for the rescue there.
Gosh, early recall having to come through from leaving this bot side. So Keshi getting a good shove up in top side. Now, this is something which Cassante has done versus Rumble for a little while. In fact, this was something that was debuted by Shanji in 2023 when we were seeing a lot of Rumble Cassante, but before lane swaps were back in force. And he would go to proxy the first few ways. He'd also do it on stuff like Udyr as well. And that was one of the ways you can kind of tamp down Rumble even in his one of his most powerful years in 2023. And it still holds true now, even with Rumble. You know, the changes to all of, well, everything about him really has had a lot of changes over time. The big one to Rumble was the fact that when he started overheating, he would start doing max HP damage as well. That was allowed him a lot better top lane matchups.
I might need to ring the alarm bell about Rumble, actually.
Yeah.
In the T1 Gen G series is happening. Chovy drafted Ghost Flash Rumble mid.
Yes, I did see it was the first one since like 23. Yeah. I don't think it was played in 24.
Well, he solo killed Faker several times.
Oh god, really?
So Faker's TF was being blasted by it.
Oh jeez. Okay, well maybe the pick's back. It was a huge. In fact, I used to play Rumble mid back in solo queue, but that was back in. God, hang on a second. That's a good ult. Not a good ult. It looks so similar to the
I know.
Yeah, good stun from Annie. Sadly, it's the thing is, when there's a stun cone in front of you with a Cassiopeia in mid lane,
you do assume Cassiopeia.
It's a little early in the day for me to be telling the difference between them. Anyway, right, so it's going to be that stun and no summoners blown them. Early game, pretty even between the two teams across the average of the map. I am quite worried that Leave is getting put quite far behind in this bot lane, because again, that Senna has been so good for him, and you want to make sure that he's bringing as much impact as he can in such an important series.
Absolutely. It does get a bit of a chunk there. Does Heru on that reset, has to come back on force, clean up that wave, happy enough. Cassiopeia's returning the favour, of course, and we'll be able to go back for that tier and go towards the early Merc Treads, which I think are relatively astute to the Annie. Don't want to go towards the Gluttonous Greaves, when, bluntly, if you spend your time CC'd, and you are active in Annie's CC range pretty much your entire time, the thought process makes sense.
For sure, and having that extra tenacity versus the Ash Seraphine later can be life-saving, so definitely the right choice here. Map hacks. Unlocked by TT. I wasn't on the same page, so I really appreciate that. Okay, so this is story time. So right next to our place in Berlin, there is just... this sounds so weird. It's very Berlin. There's just a bath filled with dirt and people put plants in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little community grungy plant box.
Yeah, so anyway, I call it the... Hang on a second. This is way more important. Okay, not going to be the full all-in. So give us going to be the full all-in from him. Anyway, we call it the grass bath, and we do grass bath. Woo, as we roll back them.
Leaf's already got 20 souls, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible. Now, part of the reason for that early recall he had earlier is because he was, you know, getting a lot of those stacks for his HP. This is something that we're learning about Leaf's Senate, and we've seen this in the past. He will trade HP for souls pretty much every day of the week.
ZDZ's been left real low here in the all-out. That's looking like a solo kill, but Keshi doesn't get the flash read, and the flash away from ZDZ is good. Unfortunately, the Vi is now here, and the 1v2 makes things pretty spicy. Cease and desist buffers through the Untold Four Strikes Part 3. Flash for the last auto, and the denting blows secure the kill onto Keshi.
This duo of ZDZ and Xiaohao have been together for 4 years, and they just continue to kind of leapfrog off of each other. Great first blood for them.
Dwayne just gets another double pulverized, by the way. The damage is pretty strong there. Dwayne's going to need to run away, maybe in danger, but Leave gets the double Q as well. The piercing darkness, the arm barrier is required. Leave does survive, but is dropped relatively low. Has to blow his cleanse. Dwayne's got the teleport to be able to come back to the lane and potentially hold it. Leave wants to stick around, which is bold, but he has got the flash, so will feel like he can get away with the piercing darkness. Doesn't have much mana, though, to get through those minions.
I think because Arn didn't even have enough mana for a volley, he was like, okay, I can't push this, and if I get flash comboed, I die to just Alistair damage, so don't push it there. Just take the summoners, take the push, and just reset for now. So TT, we should probably talk about them as an overall team. EDG, you know them, you love them. They've been an international team for a very, very long time. One of the real classics of the LPL. TT, for the longest time, though, have been one of these teams which have been promising but never broke through the envelope. I really enjoyed the era when they had UCal. I really enjoyed when they had UCal and 1XN when it came into 2024. It was a very special time as we get a fight over the Raptors, which Xiaohao wins. TT have made playoffs, I think, only twice in their organization's history. I was there for one of them, as it was UCal kind of really trying his hardest, and he actually broke down crying, actually, when they made playoffs that time. And then sadly, in the summer of that year, they couldn't quite make it. Never managed to quite capitalize on it. TT have been one of those promising teams which has never quite made it to the point which we thought they could do, even with some quite promising rosters at some points. And here, they're actually fighting for survival, Sam. If they lose here, as we're saying, if they don't pick up a single game, then that's it. Their year is done.
Yeah.
And we were saying this in terms of Ultra Prime, but for TT, it would be the same situation. You'd be missing 7 months of the year.
Big chunk in the bot lane, though, as out comes a wonderful combo. Crystalline Arrow from one side and the Encore from the other. Nowhere to run, and Leave is the one that's dropped. In the mid lane now, Heru is in danger as the Petrifying Gaze and Noxious Blast, and Heru has to flash, lest the Twin Fangs sink in a little deeper.
Yeah, Arn, against his old team here today as well, was playing on EDG. Last year didn't find success with them, but would love to deny some success from EDG as this fight goes on top side.
Dawning Shadow does help, actually, there. Makes things a bit spicier and actually keeps Xiaohao alive. Assist for Leave. Nice work. Angel flashes away from potential chunks from Kesh, who's gone all out. Footwork towards Heru, gets a stun, but he's still got the Flame Spitter rolling. Finally, that gets turned off. The Scrap Shield is not enough to keep the Rumble up, and now actually they can run at this Cassiopeia. Angel's pretty quick, but Feather, with a flash, might want to drop for that blooming burst. I can't find it. It's a high note is what I'm looking for, though it does look like that Nico Q, and I won't apologize.
Yeah, I mean, good entry to this game from Keshi. Did, of course, die to the top jungle, who we said have been together for so many years. Well, Keshi, it's his first year here in the LPL, and he's really impressing me already, Sam. This is actually the kind of guy who I could see really making a name for himself here. It's Keshi's Castle Strikes again. 2 kills for him as he gets himself the Kaenic Rush gun first. That's really important. He's been fired through to his first item with those kills from topside, and now EDG have to deal with a much tankier Cassante that might be able to withstand the Rumble.
All right, chat. Pretend I've got some proverbial shades and put it down over my eyes. Yeah, you can call him to Takeshi's Castle, right? Because he's a Rook E.
Oh, no.
Shades down.
Oh, no. That's really bad. That's really bad. So, well, in fairness, so over time in LPL, well, we had Pawn, the chess piece, and we've had Knight, and now we have the Rook in top lane. So we need to fill it out with, you know, bishops and knights at some point. But besides that, what the heck did you do there?
I just attacked the microphone.
Sam found a new way to punch the microphone. I've never seen him do that before.
Yeah, just you know, I've got to keep things interesting. I can't bully the microphone stand the same way every time.
That's very concerning, Sam. Very concerning.
Inanimate objects deserve abuse too. There we go.
Kirby, I agree with that. The puns, Sam, they are too much. You think so?
In order to provide the best League of Legends viewer experience, the casters must assert dominance over the mic intermittently to remind its boss. Do not question it. That's...
Yeah, I basically let the mods add whatever chat commands they wanted to, and that's one of them that they added.
Wow.
Yeah, the mic punch has been enshrined here. Dragon started
Love
briefly
you guys.
by EDG. Xiaohao has his ultimate available. In fact, every ultimate from EDG is available with the Dawning Shadow coming back up for leave. And you already mentioned how important that was in top side. See if they can use it again onto a play, maybe onto Heru here.
Might look to chop over the wall here. They're going to have Jue go forward. Xiaohao here as well. Heru speeds away. But it means actually with the heal, they're really going for this. The stun comes on through, but will not interrupt the season to system. Dawning Shadow follows. The CC interrupts there briefly, but EDG still succeed with the full send. My days.
Yeah, EDG choose not to go for the dragon. They choose to get a kill onto Annie, and they get themselves a couple of waves into mid lane plus another play. It is for a second dragon. That could really come back to bite them, Sam. You know, the cross-map Ash Arrow was good too. We have double global ultimates from our AD carries, and they both interrupted that play somewhat. EDG do get that kill on Annie, though. And we did say TT are somewhat of a single threat comp. Maybe the Shinzao can do some damage in the right situation. They're teleporting up now at TT, but I'm worried about what happens if the Annie's not a threat.
This could be a really sucky TP. Nice time there with the last embrace. Good dunk there as they do get Xiaohao low and likely down at too many people. The Rumble Equalizer doesn't dissuade enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little too far forwards with Xiaohao. It's a good teleport, and Heru, just as we were saying, he kind of needs to be a factor. Just got killed, comes back, gets himself involved in the play. That's important, Sam.
I've just seen leave 2 souls behind. What's he doing? Only 37 souls at 12 minutes. Disgraceful.
Disaster, I tell you.
Disgraceful.
Yeah. Now, what did he get the other day? Was it
90 souls in 20 minutes, or just underneath.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was like 87 at 20, something like that. Now, most of the time, you'd expect Senna, especially when they're farming nowadays, to have... hang on a second, Leave actually trading again half his HP for a soul, which only Leave would do that.
I want to clarify because of Leave's good name. It was 90 souls in under 20 minutes, not under 90 souls in 20 minutes. So
oh shit, really?
Yeah, it was like 1930 or something. So just under. It was like very impressive.
Wow, I thought that was different. Actually, crazy. I thought because I mean, Senna you expect to have 70 souls tops at 20 minutes now. I mean, he's already at 41 in 13, which is not bad. But that's kind of like more on an average Senna stacking. I mean, even though it's still pretty good, the first few minutes of the game were good for him. As soon as he gets Shiv, then it gets a bit easier to proc them again regularly, now, because then you can get the Shiv with a Q will effectively end up insta-stacking onto someone with that soul. There you go. There it is.
Beautiful pickup there. That will speed up the soul collection. To continue from that point, gold lead to TT. Modest but manageable, 1,000 odd gold, but the important thing, as we've noted, are those double dragons, and I think TT as well, we saw it from the statistical overview, and I think I largely agree with its summations as well, namely that the early stages of the game are going to be TT favoured on paper, right? You look at the comps, you see the Ashe Seraphine, you see Annie Shinzao, you go one item spike, that sounds really annoying around that kind of mid-game point of power, and you can play from that point. And EDG going to get a slight advantage later because they have the team with the Cassiopeia, with the Alistair, with the Senna scaling. Good dodge there from Leave, who makes sure he's targetable with the Curse of the Black Mist and gets away with it. Top lane Angel nabbing a few plates, happy enough with that. Jue is around.
I'm just looking back in that VOD to see where the different breakpoints he's on. So he was at 14 minutes in the last game. Let me go look back to that and see exactly what he gave us.
While just having John now go into the enemy jungle. Xiaohao's around, but you've got to be a bit careful because Feather's coming from another angle. They don't know the Shins are there, and Xiaohao kind of has an idea that things might have been getting a little dicey, so pulls away from potential action.
Now, it's worth noting in his other Senna game, he was at basically 60 stacks by this point, so he was actually a significant amount behind, but I thought I'd actually just go check up that tape, because again, he was stacking so well, and that's something that we've known from his Smolder and from his Senna. Apologies for being a bit quiet on that, but I just thought it was nice to get that context in for you all there, because I think Senna, when she's not in meta, becomes quite hard to really kind of like figure out how much she should be doing in terms of those stacks. Right now, she's a little, well, that shift definitely helps, needs to be careful not to get hit by that CC. Here come the TPs.
Makes things a bit challenging. Angel from the flank over. Now Keshi's Sidgeway goes in. Good. Petrifying gaze alongside that pulverize. The damage is disgusting. Seraphine is down for the count. No more songs for her. Leave untouched. Continuing to auto. This is how he picked up the souls the last game with all of the skirmishing that he got to survive. Gets to jump on top of Keshi, being run at, but he will likely, even in this 1v4, be unable to find anyone. A valid attempt there from the Cassante, but really good from EDG. The ult cleanse into engage from Jway sets it all up.
Jway has a fantastic fight there, Sam. The Alistair flying into the play at full HP, tying up the team, really makes the difference. And Leave picks up about 10 souls from that fight, all in all. From the kills, from the double hits. He's really happy with that now. A little bit more on pace of what he was doing the last time. You know, Heru uses the stun badly here. We said that the Annie needed to be a factor. I just don't think he is here. You have Angel going in for the miasma and the ult too, and 2 people are immediately just out of the fight. You know, it's the bot lane completely exploded. They can't hold position. It's a great play from Jway, Xiaohao, and just the whole kind of CC combo that falls in afterwards. Angel, of course, starting again today. He did actually get effectively benched for a series for Sinian. I'm not sure whether that was just to give him Sinian some time, but clearly Angel was the better player. He came in for game 3 of that last series he was playing in. Angel now in a very healthy amount of gold himself, picking up those 6 assists, and Heru needs to do better with the next engage, Sam.
Okay, now, of course, for TT, that's an unfortunate loss. They had the 1,000 gold lead. It's gone away from them. They'd love soul point. Leave could still be in danger. Has got the flash, has got the cleanse, backsteps the arrow, gets hit by the wind, becomes lightning, but goes into the curse, the black mist, and survives. Gets the auto out and should be able to back away if needed. Good survival there. Doesn't burn any summoners.
Yeah, it does mean that he's low HP for the dragon, but he's healing a little bit here. He gets himself some Qs and some healing from the Alistair.
The time for raw value was pretty high. Of course, they do then lose control of the river, and those wards all disappear. Dragon would be soul point, and Mountain Soul's rough to give up to a Cassante. Here we go. The fight commences again.
Leave looking for the Shiv. The Q actually stepped out of there. Gets the healing from it. W does land, but they can't follow up on it.
Yeah, looking for Heru, going forwards. Good chunk there on his EDZ, who does get the equalizer down before he dies, but is dead. Make no mistake about it. That means soul point will be Thunder Talks.
Now, poor contest from EDG. They don't get the vision control. Actually, that is a Vi on vision too, but they don't cancel it out. So I was wondering whether they'd be able to stop him from recalling. Not quite there.
TP out from Angel is going to go to the other side of the map and get that shoved. And again, EDG, unfortunate work there. Had a great fight in that topside river, but then not really in a position to fight for that soul point. Now the time is just kind of on just slightly.
Yeah, I mean, hold on a second. Junhao has a lot of damage here. Gets a lot onto Leave, who's almost going to die. Just the ult pop, flash blown. Now, Junhao doesn't have the flash himself, but he'll be safe within that Crescent Guard. That's a good play from him. This is one of the problems with the Senna. Senna is not tanky at all. Always a very squishy champion. Really appreciate the follow there, by the way, Aero. I hope you're having a good time. And just to reiterate the stakes for people who've been filtering in, we'll say it multiple times over the series because it is important. Hang on a second. That's the ultimate just dodged away from.
Not landed one on the Leave yet, aside from in the laning phase, actually.
Yeah, the swiftness boots definitely helping with that one. Basically, TT need a single game win to survive elimination from Split 3. If they lose 0-2, Ultra Prime will go ahead of them in 4th spot from Nirvana, and TT will miss Split 3. So this is actually, despite it being a Nirvana matchup, which many people I think turn a blind eye to at points, or rather, you know, they'd rather not watch it in favor of some of the top team matchups. This is really important for us. This is really important. You know, EDG has been a team within the LPL since 2014. They've got a lot of historic value. TT and Ultra Prime are a lot newer teams for themselves. They've actually managed to contest quite well with many of these teams down in Nirvana over time. Ultra Prime walking away with a 2-series win record. Of course, OMG, the other team, eliminated alongside either TT or Ultra Prime, which of course we'll find out by the end of the series.
The whole caboose is the phrase I'll use. Whether that was the right one or not, I don't really use the word caboose, must be said. On with the 2-1 scoreline, up a fair amount of gold here against Senna. Bit of a weird one to match gold against anyway because of how she works as a champion, but still gone forward towards the Hurricane here has Arn actually. Interesting. So Kraken Slayer Hurricane it used to be a build on Ashe ages ago, and in fairness, you are into a relatively short range comp with the notable exception of the Senna.
Yeah.
But I sort of see some thought process to it.
I think we did say, look, he's a solo carry, does need to be doing a lot of damage, and he'll have to do that with the AoE. ZDZ flashing away. Here comes Arn himself, lands that ult. I think ZDZ He's gonna die here, Sam.
Yeah, it's a ZZZ. I think his name's slightly wrong. Gets put to sleep by Arn, who's now 3-1.
ZDZ. Good start to the game from him, and just misjudging that on the side lane there. A lot of the time we'll see top laners just randomly die in side lanes like that, just because they misjudge the map as a team. Yeah, sometimes you need to be watching with spectator vision matching that team. You know, you don't always know the information which they have. Of course, they'll be reviewing that kind of thing too. But LPL has always been a team which, not a team, a region which loves to play towards side lanes, loves to punish on the map. Harry now moving up towards that top lane, which the Cassiopeia had pushed into. EDG only having a 500 gold lead against 3 dragons doesn't feel good, Sam. Doesn't feel good at all. And Arn being so far ahead, 2,000 gold onto the leave Senna, which is, you know, stacking okay. It is 70 stacks around 20 minutes. This is more of an average Senna game. It just feels like TT have kind of like everything where they want it now. They've managed to survive that early game aggression from EDG. Now, Keshi's in a great spot on the Cassante to just be tanky in the front line, and it feels like Arn and Harry actually do have the damage now to make a team fight work. Harry, we did say, look, he needs to be better on the next engage, but I think the Hurricane build from Arn's quite savvy here. I think that he needs to be doing a lot of damage as a single threat comp, really, with a bit of extra damage from the Annie, and having the Hurricane will help him DPS down a second target. Yeah, and then picking up a Lord Dom's next when you've actually got relatively bruiser-ish heavy teams. Again, it's a Roa mid laner, you've got Rumble top, the Vi's not exactly low HP. That Giant Slayer will be useful here, I think, in general. Sam, I won with Ash on Arena the other day.
Did you? How was that?
Very good. I had a Reaper's Toll, which is
what's
every
that
time
do?
you hit someone, you remove a tiny bit of their max HP. So you actually steal, well, for that round. And the more you, and it's true damage, max HP true damage.
Oh, that's
like
horrendous.
a tiny bit. And then, but it's on hit, and then I got a Rage Blade, and then I got some other stuff which like does your double on hits
again,
like twice. So I just walked up to Nautilus and he went down to literally half HP by the end of the round.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, it's fun
Do
time.
you get to steal it to yourself?
No, I think that would, even for arena standards, that would be
unreasonable.
A tad much. Anyway, Soul coming up in 30 seconds. TT get this. I think they're home and away, Sam. Teleports coming in from EDG. They need to control their vision way better than that last time they contested.
5 stalls off the next range increase from Senna, looking to come around on this flank angle, but here's the Vi, is spotted out. Well, 5 points she's looking for, Keshi in the front line, ends up donating a few souls, but is tanky enough at this point. Of course, the other person to keep an eye on is this Cassiopeia, who's pretty damn scary. TT with a good death ball of their own, with the Seraphine there looking for an angle for the encore.
Alistair ult being down is huge. TT, I think, have the cooldown economy in their advantage for now.
Good call on that one. Heruwa Vision looking for the Rocket Belt. Can't quite find it on to leave the double pull back. There's the encore. They'll blow up Angel, but he's got a good shield. Survives for a second or two longer as Keshi goes in. Backline from Dway, trying to donate and dissuade the engage, and it does a good job. Keshi left low but not down. Dragging down 2,000 HP. It will be a smite fight. Won by the Shinzao, and Thunder Talk get what they came for.
They do. The Mountain Soul claimed that'll be a dead ZDZ, who is once again put to sleep, and leave. You can stack all you want. I just don't think it's been quick enough this game. Struggled in the 2v2. Leave. He's going to be left alone in a 1v2 as Arn will chase down his replacement on EDG.
Oh, yeah.
TT Arn was on EDG just last year and wants to deny them just a little bit of that success. TT on their way to a Game 1 victory now with that Mountain Soul. And of course, that is heartbreaking news for Ultra Prime, who were hoping that perhaps they could maintain a little bit more hope for the rest of today. If TT do close out this game, Ultra Prime will be confirmed eliminated from LPL Split 3.
That's the big one. TT know what's on the line here. And it is a really good engage from Keshi again to pick up a number of peoples. The equalizer did split off Arn and Feather. Heru was burning as well. You thought maybe with the backline gone, it could have been a playable fight, but they just don't quite have enough damage. And the fact that they can't get into the Baron Pit is frustrating. Xiaohao tries to go over the flash and doesn't connect.
I think it's, look, if the Alistair had ultimate for that part of the fight, you can understand how they could walk away with a winning scenario there, but it's just not quite as simple as that. It was blown earlier by that Ashe ultimate from Arn. Baron going down, EDG, Baron steal on the table. They're going to have to look for it. Arrow's coming over, cleansed away by the Mikhails.
Okay, well, that's the arrow down, and the Baron stays gone. And again, you do still have enough ways to get through shields. The tanks are going to be annoying with things like the Cassante, of course. Very good with the Mountain Soul. It's not like the Shinzao is going to be poor either, but maybe you can just try to stay through to the hyper-scaling you do have in this game. And Alistair's not bad later on once you get those higher levels of Triumphant Roars, once you get towards things like those later game Senna stacks and the third item. You're not exactly shy on your damage fronts there, but you've got to be able to survive the next 5 minutes to get to that point. And Baron has just restarted again. Thunder Talk in danger here of losing another massive neutral objective. Where is the Vi over the back of the pit? The equalizer's in. Going to find their way into the pit. 3,000 HP. It will be the smite fight. Won by someone. I didn't see who got it. It was the Vi. Managed to get that one. Leave also got a kill onto the Seraphine. Needs to back away. Baron secured. And Thunder Talk fumble a Baron. Might be Angel dying though. So he needs to squeeze between turrets here.
Does EDG, if they can survive with the Baron buffs they have right now, they're happy. They have the 3 of them. W not going to land there. Angel will have an empowered recall, but I don't think he can get it for now. He's going to be really close on this. He's probably going to die here, Sam. It's just how long he'll take to die on the other side. He will beat Junhao in a 1v1 maybe, but Harry's here. It won't be a true 1v1. So it's only the 2 Baron buffs surviving from EDG on their bot laner and their top laner.
Still, you secure the Baron. You prevent the pick of that one from Thunder Talk. And all the while, the Rumble does get that top lane shoved again. We'll have a look at ZDZ and Xiaohao here as Heru looks for the stun and gets it onto Xiaohao, but it's not enough really to dissuade him from getting into the pit. And things get messy from there.
Me too. I mean, Junhao is really strong and he does try to get onto the back line. It's kind of punted out by the Alta. Also means the Encore doesn't get as much value as they would have liked. Would have been nice to kind of get the Leave center kind of in melee range of the Shinzao. They managed to get feather down there too. The overall fight is what, a 3-for-1 then overall, but the Baron being taken does give EDG something to work with, you know? Now we need to see, you know, someone going to be picking up a Serpent's Fang for the Mountain Shield. Can EDG work their way back with the Baron buff, try and get some gold in pocket?
Yeah, and again, Senna's no bad Serpent's Fang user. I suppose that's possible. Xiaohao, I suppose, could do it. Yeah. A bit messy. Once upon a time, people like Zyra could do it.
Yeah, very occasionally. Now, the thing about the Serpent's Fang on someone like Senna nowadays is actually that lethality really got nerfed for Senna. It's one of the reasons we don't see stuff like the Umbral Glaive Senna support or I think, Ghost Blade first anymore. You kind of have to go towards crit and attack speed, which is... Well, not attack speed as much, but you have to kind of go towards that crit, which is... I understand why. I mean, the lethality builds were kind of obnoxious, but I feel like that's the playstyle which a lot of Senna players ended up enjoying. And I thought it was okay for the game. There are worse things out there, you know, Yuumi, Zoe,
Deathfire Touch,
Deathfire Touch, anything, yeah. Things like that. 2 minutes till Elder will be the next big fight now. So, if EDG can win themselves an Elder Steal, that's when they can get themselves over that final hurdle. As we were saying, this is a very tense match. TT, this is a survival game for them. If they win this, Ultra Prime go down and not them. And they have the lead. They have the Mountain Soul, they have the gold lead. They have an Ashe who is really hard to deal with because they're not consistently getting onto the backline with enough damage to make a difference. I've really been enjoying the way that Keshi, Junhao, and Feather are just kind of like flinging themselves all their ultimate forwards to make sure that Arn has free space to fight. And EDG, the only way around that is effectively get an Elder buff and just kill them front to back. I think that's literally the only way around it now with the Mountain Soul on top of it.
It's the plan. So, eyes on timers, 50 seconds until Elder. Sleeve has kind of hit the big break point of 100 souls on Senna. She is well outranging things like the Caitlyn at this point. The arrow lands though, has got a cleanse and needs to use it.
Okay, so that Ashe ultimate, down for now, second rank of it. It's not going to be a 40-second cooldown, but if the dragon fight goes long, there's a chance that will come up within decent timing. You can see, you know, it's already like a quarter off cooldown. Ashe Arrow, as the game goes on, just get fairly low cooldown. If TT can slow things down a bit, maybe they can play around Ashe Arrow, no cleanse.
Leaves resetting. I think he might have Infinity Edge on this reset.
Yeah, that'll be huge for him. If you can get that, that's huge. But he's now going to be out of position. It's a late reset. It better be that Infinity. There it is. I mean, it's going to give them the, you know, a debuff in terms of the setup. He's got to get out onto the map quickly. 10 seconds till Elder's there. EDG, once again, a little bit slow to the objective, giving up a lot of river control.
Xiaohao's coming down from a really odd angle to make sure they've got a way in. They've got some wards on this bot side of the river, so they managed to fight in through bot lane wave. The Dawning Shadow used to scout out the Elder start, but they will be in the river roughly.
Okay, so is Vi seen here? W landing, Vi over the wall. TT potentially looking for the fight. Keshi's W goes wide.
They don't know that Xiaohao's there now.
Map hacks, man. Map hacks. Ashe makes it very hard to deal with that. He could fly into the play, has flash, has Q, has ult. Very hard to keep him away from the dragon itself, so you need to burst him out before he gets there. EDG clearly looking for the steal. TT bringing the dragon lower.
They're going to try and find the angle there. Leaves left low and down. The set is out. Wonderful combo as they find their way to the backline. Keshi and Heru again with a wonderful trade. They bring down Angel as well. The damage is just disappearing in front of EDG's eyes. Ultra Prime hold their head in their hands from somewhere else, looking as Thunder Talk will walk the walk around this Elder fight. Ignore the objective and stroll down the mid lane, promenading their way to a victory.
That is the engage that will save Thunder Talk's season. Ultra Prime will be eliminated with TT's first game win here. TT only needed a single game win, and they'll take it in the first time of asking against EDG. It was a series of very good objective fights from Thunder Talk as EDG are blasted. Despite having comfort champions, despite having good damage across the board, TT better at the objectives.
They asked for the late game scaling. They said, we'll give up a few of those early objectives, and it came back to bite them. Those flips around the dragons haunt them at the end of the day, leaves back alive, but Dway will fall. The Nexus shortly after leave. All those souls mean nothing if your Nexus dies, and Thunder Talk complete the game 1 win.
Now we'll be fighting for
Jantas, Rakan's around and about. I think he's been solid.
Look, he's been the best support in Nirvana. The question is what will happen once they get pushed on the map a little bit more. Anyway, we'll get into game 2, see if there are any Gyos, and we'll get into it, Sam.
Couple international fans in the audience there. They know what they're playing for, so TT needs actually battling out the duel. Gyos happening simultaneously. Little bit contentious. Let's look at those runes. Nothing super spicy there as far as I can see. The Deathfire Touch on the rise, pretty much a regular thing at this point.
Yeah, it's Electrocute Onivia is the only thing which you can sometimes see flexed around. Besides that, no pretty no Deathfire Touch on someone like the Neferi either, which sometimes runs that. But I think the Conqueror is just easier to play around the extended fights anyway, so that'll be that Feather. I'd imagine, well, against this lane, do you go Q or E start? He's gone for the E actually there, wants to get the potential Electrocute. Doesn't get it though. Bit annoying for him. And, you know, Feather with another bird champ fits his name. He named himself Feather for Rakan because he was a Rakan main. I believe that was the case anyway. And, yeah, he's found another bird to put into the inventory here. Tries to go for the Electrocute again. Doesn't quite get it. I'm actually quite annoyed that he's gone for 2 trades and doesn't get the Electrocute Sam. It's weirdly getting my nerves there.
Need to level 2, clearly. Congrats on the 5 stream streak, by the way, Jadran. Appreciate you being here and enjoying yourself in the channel.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone that, even if you are lurking, the stream streaks mean a lot to us. We appreciate you spending a bit of your day with us. I mean, look, folks, we rock up and roll out of bed, like, to go cast LPL every day of the week, pretty much. There are a couple of days off sometimes. But, you know, we come here and we shout at League of Legends for a while. Having the company during that makes it a lot more enjoyable. ZDZ actually getting jumped on by the Mega Gnar here. Keshi had a good last game. ZDZ has to pop the Ghost early because Keshi gets a good Mega Gnar first one of the game. Now, Gnar doesn't often get that kind of early pressure with the first transformation of the lane. You're often a little too low HP to utilize it there. But Keshi's done quite well with the Draw and Shield and the Fleet Footwork to make sure he can actually get a strong first trade of the game. In fact, a lot of Gnar lanes, and you know, I dabble in top lane. I played a fair amount of it a while ago. And something that just kind of stayed true for Gnar is that if you get a good first trade with your first Mega Gnar of the game, you're in a really good spot. You're not expected to, but if you do get it, it really does to change the nature of a bunch of matchups.
Yeah, very much so. And the TF will eventually get to the point where the Gnar struggles to get combos off without having them broken by gold cards coming out very rapidly. Arn goes forward, dodges out on the Aqua Prison, gets a good chunk there and gets the reload animation and sprint away. Very nicely done. Junhao is in the river down here. We'll pick up that scuttle grab. Xiaohao will see that's happening and will slink across to the other side of the river to pick up one there.
I'm hearing great things about the T1 Gen G series, folks. We're definitely going to go back and watch that at some point. Don't you mind that. We'll definitely go over to that one. Seems like LCK and LPL have actually both been very entertaining this split. Yeah. Like, I know that BLG are, like, quite clearly first place in LPL, but it's not like they haven't been contested, and the top matchups have been very good. And the top esports versus JDG, AL versus JDG, and all kinds of
NIP causing some chaos.
Yeah, and, you know, even though BLG have been stomping some of their series, it's not like they've been completely uncontested either. It has been a really good split, I think, across the world. Okay, there's your Electrocute, and there's your, actually your 4th bounce Q is actually the bigger part of damage there too, so Arn really well set up with the minions there. If you're a Jhin player, you really want to set them up. Nice. We're in prison!
Teru does get to flash away briefly, but it will lead to the death regardless. Angel burns the flash, but successfully sends Azir to jail.
All right, so one bird's doing well in the bot lane. The second bird has not quite managed to follow suit there, as the one in the mid lane goes down for first blood. Sam has found yet another way to punish the microphone by hitting it with his coffee cup instead.
Sitting at a really awkward angle to get my coffee cup around the microphone.
Look, Sam, this is something that you could change at any point.
Could.
Oh, God. Anyway, yeah, I know. Wait, my pleasure. We do need to get an emote of that. I'm sorry, Sam. We need to get an emote of that.
The dominance has been asserted. Also, someone called the police. Parky's streaking in chat. None of that.
What? Huh? Oh, stream. Oh, okay. Right.
When are we gonna get that as a little like pop-up, like a pixelated someone running across a football field? Just saying.
Well, if there's an overlay for stream streaks and stuff like that, we could. Well, I don't really want that popping up on a VOD is the thing. It's like I've kind of accepted that. Like, I mean, I think it's quite nice for people to like follow or drop a sub, gift sub or something like that, and they see like a name pop up on the screen during the gameplay. That's what LCS and LEC have done. And I think that's just quite nice. Hang on, no, not gonna be the gold card there, but yeah, having someone like, you know, pixelated nakedness on the screen is probably a little too far even for our slightly different broadcast over here.
Yeah, it's true, Parky. I know your gaming habits.
Yeah. Over in Onivia's chat, I'm liking this Onivia support, not going to lie. Yeah, so the thing about the Onivia support is that it's almost always lane dominant. The question is whether it's useful outside of that. Now, for this time, it's been working well. The Jhin Onivia is very good CC combo. You lock people in so Jhin can kind of get round to his fourth shot. A lot of the time with Jhin, you don't always get trades long enough for your fourth shot to go off. And in fact, most trades against Jhin are determined by, can I disengage before he gets round to his fourth shot? Onivia makes sure that can't really happen as easily. Harry going force, but he doesn't have the flash, and now he's a little bit in no man's land. Do they have the rune prison? Maybe. Once again, we see this here. That rune prison in mid lane doesn't help them, but that wall in bot lane on the other side from TT, you see how it forces out that kind of that threat in these laning phases.
Yeah, the deadly flourish was being threatened there, just about to come off cooldown. Way down that flash heal makes him pretty vulnerable here, and Thunder Talk, you know, might just be sending EDG down to 4th here if this keeps up. They've been playing a good early throughout this bot lane. Again, still up 1,000 gold. EDG not necessarily panicking yet. They did get that kill out the jungle. That's all good news. And again, TF is doing his thing of printing money. Feels a little illegal, that, doesn't it?
I think LPL's been great recently, folks. I think that hang on, that's doubly landing onto leave. But yeah, we do pay attention to Onivia's chat, by the way. It's been fun. It's been fun, LPL. I think it's been largely every matchup has been, you can go in with a favorite, but it doesn't feel like it's as easy to determine the winner as it has been at many different points. I think teams like Weibo and NIP, even IG to a point, have been all over the place in terms of upper level. And you know, that their standing level is not that high all the time, but their ability to punch up has been really, really cool to watch, to the point where even teams like JDG, who lost to Weibo the other day, can fall prey to them. Even down here in Nirvana. Now, the thing about Nirvana is that we have a lot less series played, so it's a lot harder to kind of draw a bead on exactly how good the teams are. Teams like LGD went 2-0, then lost their next series, and then LNG mounted a comeback to finish first in the split, despite losing their first series of the split. And now coming right back down to what the hell? Sam's pointing out there's a bot lane of a Mel Camille. Huh?
Yeah.
Over in LCK. All right, okay, fine. You guys can go watch LCK as a treat, but like have us on the second screen, you know? Potential knock up here from John, how dunks into both of them. Deadly Flourish goes wide.
Does try and make the play happen. The Hound's pursuit that makes it a bit of a mess, and now this has all gone real wrong. EDG going to eviscerate forward his Xiaohao on. We'll just TT and cry a little bit here. Just about barriers out. The problem is in the lane there is still the Onivia going down to the egg. Does get the Deadly Flourish under the turret. It will get the kill back. So hey, something. But EDG are now 4 kills to the good.
Junhao, why? He just sees a load of people. He's like, I've got to dunk him. I've got to dunk him. I feel it in my bones. I got to dunk him. And he dies for it, Sam. 0-1-0 flashes as well.
Bernard and Feather are like, no, not like this.
It's like, you know, it's Captain Ahab and the White Whale. It's like, I see them. It's my destiny. I don't know enough quotes from Moby Dick to actually have this be an actual
Call
reference.
me Ishmael.
Call him Ishmael.
That's the opening line. I don't know other lines. Yeah.
Call me Junhao. CDC popping the ultimate just to get vision of him. He's the shortest range Destiny I've seen in quite a while. ZDZ starting to really threaten Keshi in top lane.
Who was the top laner who TP'd in front of himself on a minion?
It was that Bugax?
Might have been Bugax. Was it Guigos possibly as well?
Guigo, you mean?
Yeah, Guigo, yeah.
I thought it was Bugax, but it might have been Gigo. It might have been Gigo. I can't remember. Anyway, Junhao.
John Y.
Jun How, Jun Why? Well, we know the Jun Where and When, which was just on our screen in the Tri-Brush. Yeah, the other philosophical questions we'll have to figure out later. Arn does get a good root. In fact, actually him getting the kill onto Xiao Hao after with the root does give a good amount of gold over. How much was it? 413, so it's basically a kill and a half. So it's not bad from Arn. Gets himself a bit more gold for that. I mean, it's not great in the overall play, but hey, I mean, it's some golden pocket.
2,000 gold is pretty significant early lead here, make no mistake about it. At the very least, we are potentially at a point now where perhaps this bot lane can still be annoying. We've seen what they can do. The problem is losing that egg makes the Onivia so much more fragile as a support. We have seen this repeatedly in terms of Onivia support. Specifically, if you lose that egg, you just make it just becomes so much harder to actually step forward and threaten with the wall, which is half of why you picked the damn champion in the first place, and you are a support who is going to be behind levels as well, which just means that you are just inevitably at risk.
Yeah. We've got a bit of philosophical question happening in chat, because there's a user in Twitch, a long-time follower, someone I've known for a long time, called Kirby, but specifically X Kirby. So now the question is, you know, why the X? It's not just like a Pokemon EX Kirby.
Yeah, we used to think.
Oh, I was about to say, it's the summer you'll always remember. With Kirby.
Yeah.
Boy, raises many questions, it does. Right, so EDG have a really, really powerful Neferi. Is going to be the Eclipse build. We don't see this all the time now, but the double daggers there. Take a decent chunk out of Jun How. The thing about the Neferi is that you can be an assassin, but you can also just be really consistent at being annoying in a way that someone like the Zed can't be.
Sounds like me.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, this is really the Sam champion now, the Initialise. Just very good at being annoying here. But the thing about the Neferi is that you can look for poke with your double daggers, and you're so safe with both your E and your W. You can be an assassin, and you can be a bit of a poke bot.
Hang on, curtains get called. Lee's going to be walled out a little bit here. Takes 2 shots, but then is interrupted by the Aqua Prison. Lee, though, losing half his HP. Bar by her. Down comes the Realm Warp. Couple ultimates burn. This gets spicy, but Jun Hao's around. Glacial Storm comes down, forcing Lee even to way off a little bit. The double tidal wave interrupts the bot lane. Feather falls. Bird pulled out of the air, and the House Pursuit is interrupted briefly, but the kill is secured regardless. Double for Lee. Need to back away in the damage in many ways. So, but here comes Heru, level 10, looking for something, but just slides into an Aqua Prison. And EDG look a lot more alive in this game too.
All right, Sam, the whole thing about being able to disable turret aggro with Neferi W is... It's not fair, Sam.
No.
It's not fair. Now, if she's already applied the bleed to you, she'll pick it up again once she comes out of that. But it's really not fair to get to dive like that for free. Keshi starting to charge up the Mega Gnar bar. Wants to see if he can maybe get himself out. ZDZ needs to teleport out before the Mega Gnar's hit.
Yeah, it does indeed need to do just that, exactly. And gets out to safety.
So EDG, huge lead now. And it's all coming through from that bot lane, really. You know, ZDZ has a decent lead in top lane too, but Xiao Hao has just been going back to the well of this bot lane and saying, okay, look, the Jin Nami is lane dominant, but it doesn't have many escapes, and I can burst that out. Getting that early item of that Eclipse has really helped. It's a good one item spike, the Eclipse. I do think the item is a little bit overrated on the whole, but if you do get it early, it's very, very strong. That burst of damage against high PHP targets can be very, very annoying. And now it's got to the point where, you know, Leave has 3 kills on the Corki as well. A much better game for him on this champion than, sadly, the Senna last game, which is one of his best champions of all time, but just didn't work out in that game. TT, I mean, they're looking like they're really hard pressed to get pressure in this game now. Every lane is getting really, really rocked.
Yeah, Leave is getting to the point where the Glacial Storm and the Wall aren't really preventing him from threatening someone like Arn. Now, Xiao Hao's around. Arn's on 10% HP. Heru is here, but they're going to fight over these Raptors. Feather's got the egg available. Doesn't have to burn it quite yet. Looks for a bit of a CC chain. Flashing on in with the flag and the dragon. That's a good kill onto the Corki. Dwayne now in danger. The Nami is sushi put on ice, courtesy of a good wall. And now, finally, Thundertalk get to strike back a little bit. The problem is you look in these side lanes, you've got a Rise, you've got a TF, and you've got free grub, so these side lane turrets pay the price for the mid lane contest.
Right, so a little bit of gold back for TT. We said they were getting rocked across a lot of the lanes. They've been finding it quite hard to kind of find inroads on the map, but EDG, not without their flaws. They overpush it a little bit there. And Sam, we've also not managed to really get around to objective fights, really. Just... man. Go watch Hot Fuzz, folks. That'll be our maybe
No one tells
recommendation.
me nothing.
Sam, I found there was a very, very funny short I found from some Irish comedians.
Yeah.
Which is about like when there are just like a lot of bald people in the office. It's like, why are some people bald today? And then it's basically just like the Hot Fuzz cult, but of bald people.
the greater shiny dome. It'll try and interrupt as Haru goes sliding on it and doesn't find it.
He noticed it a little bit late there.
yeah.
I'm not sure whether he had all of his cooldowns back up in terms of that Q to reposition. Didn't have the flash for that either. Angel is going to stick around. Hang on, he's going to find Junhound. Stop that recall there. Anyway, yeah, bald cult, basically. Very strange video. Very funny.
They've got a bald cult in the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Huh?
So, you know Rude and Reno?
Yeah,
So,
the Turks, yeah.
is it Rude who's the bald one? I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
He joins a bar where it's just bald people who shine their heads. There's a whole dance sequence, and they come up and like have a whole salute where they rub their heads.
Does sound like a Dragon sketch. That would be something there. In fact, I'm surprised that the Yakuza franchise has not dipped into hairdressing yet for like pompadours or something.
It does at the beginning of Yakuza 7.
Okay, so it has done that. Then.
That's
of course it's done
that's
that.
how Ichiban gets his haircut.
Okay,
anyway,
right.
Keshi is
forwards, got the gold card loaded up.
Yeah, this gets a bit interesting though. The damage is getting to that point where ZDZ can be a bit more threatening. The Kraken Slayer is always good for that team.
It is, but like ZDZ is Sam. He's ulted his own lane 3 times.
Yes,
now. That's
yes.
This is the most combat focused, like in his own lane TF ults I've ever seen. Herald going down for EDG as they start it now. Glacial Storm and the Flash Frost going wide on to leave that.
They're going to go for the flag and drag. They not leave inside the Cataclysm. The Glacial Storm follows as well. As comes the Empress Divide. Leave gets to do nothing. Rune Prison onto Keshi. Flashes out. But Feather flashes for the Flash Frost. Forces some flashes in turn. Lots of flashes to be found here today. But this ain't Flash Gordon. And I don't see Ming the Merciless. So everyone's going to back away.
Yeah, he retired a little. He retired a few years ago, Sam. Get with the times. I know it was like when was Flash Gordon out? Like the 60s or something? Yeah, it's been a while.
There was that remake.
There was. And you know what? It wasn't bad.
I enjoyed it.
That was okay. Yeah, you know, funnily enough, I remember that quite fondly from like the early 2000s.
Era of Primeval as well, which was nearly phenomenal.
Primeval, the first like 2 seasons were wonderful, and then I think they had problems with contracts with actors, and they had to like randomly kill off a lot of their main cast.
This was just
which is the nature of a lot of like lower budget TV series.
Yeah.
Also, good shows from TV around then. There was the Robin Hood TV series, which is actually very good for the first few seasons. Then it got weird, and then I thought Merlin. First series was charming but not good, and then later on it actually got pretty good because the CGI budget like tripled.
the problem with that show, and again we've got a minute or so until Dragon, so I'll try and keep this brief, but the problem with that show is the magic just evolved into I'm just going to shove you and it'll be in slow motion.
Oh, so basically what Stranger Things did like 10 years later.
And then the other issue was that Merlin and Arthur never actually got to be Merlin and Arthur doing the cool things, and so actually they finally had because it was this whole will the reveal come or not for like 5 seasons. When they finally did it, it was like the last episode.
Yeah,
it was too late.
I think at that point they realized that the show was getting cancelled.
But they needed to have like the actual reveal, and yes, there needed to be some drama, but like that could have had. Anyway,
well, hang on, the original Flash score was 36. I knew it was early. I didn't realize.
Wow.
The things that like the original Flash Gordon was incredibly impactful into things like Star Wars, so I knew it came before that. Yeah, okay, I completely misjudged that then. And then also you had Dune. You had basically Dune and Flash Gordon being the precursors to Star Wars, alongside the movie, the movie cinema kind of cross-pollination of samurai and Western films as well. Okay, so 2.6k lead for EDG, Dragon up in 20 seconds. Camtech Soul, not the best this game, but I mean, you won't turn it down. I mean, the actual dragons themselves, as we said, are often more useful than the soul itself.
Tenacity's not bad for either team, actually.
Yep. I think that Chemtech Soul is actually better because of the dragons it gives you rather than the actual...
I completely agree.
Overall kind of crowning buff instead.
Double chin traps are procced there. Over into the mid lane line bush goes Junhao.
I thought you said the chin traps, and I'm like, wow. I mean,
chin straps,
we're going back to like Fairly Odd Parents. It's like the Crimson Chin, man.
All one the picture-in-picture, you can see the first turret falling, or actually second turret falling here in favor of ZDZ, who does have that destiny. In fact, they're going to try and get 3 3 turrets from this play.
Mate, now I'm just wondering if we had like the Crimson Jin skin. You know, that'd be wonderful.
Oh,
the
yes.
problem is then he'd actually have to be a superhero. We need to get Jin as part of the Mass Justice skin line. We need him to be like the vaudevillain Jin.
Yeah, the Crimson Jin, yes.
The vaudevillain. No, that does not sound good.
No.
At all. No, that sounds...
No, not great.
No, but the Mass Justice Jin would be fantastic. Imagine him being like the supervillain from that skin line. He's built for it, Sam, I tell you. Hey, OJ, good to see you. This we can add that onto the skin list of like Cassandra claws.
Ho.
Yes. I will not yield.
So every time he presses Q, he says ho.
Yeah. Ho.
Which will be abused, but will be absolutely worth it.
That would be really good, actually.
It will be superb.
Yeah, and then the Q3 is like the full ho ho ho.
Yeah,
experience.
and when it's just like, and then when he hits ours, Mary Snowdown. And he gets jingle bells when he presses W.
That's
like the sleighs
fantastic.
going forwards.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's great. Yep. And he's got, like, instead of the Antofos, he's got candy canes. He's got candy canes.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, we do need candy cane as a skin as well.
Yeah.
We got so many things that we've got. What was the other one I had? There was public transport. Raksai, who builds like underground tunnels.
Yeah.
Like
subway stations. Yeah, it just comes up, and every time you unburrow, you get like a train noise. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Doors closing.
Mind the gap. Presses R.
Mind the top gap. Probably she's not like relegated to one role anymore. She's kind of like jungle and top lane, so you can't like say like, oh, mind the mid gap or something like that.
Yeah, mind the gap is fine.
Yeah. Okay, so EDG didn't get that last dragon. They chose to get gold instead, which is fine. It's fine. They've got the upgraded gluttonous
believe in your soul.
I never really listened to that song, son.
So the reason I did was when I was at university, there was one guy who was a mature master student who just sing at every karaoke night.
Yeah?
Without fail.
Oh, that's cool.
It was good fun. But it was like
Anyone in
staple.
chat have like you could probably figure out that most of my karaoke songs are Linkin Park. But what are your karaoke songs in chat? Sam does Hercules a lot. He does Go the Distance.
I'll do Aladdin as well if I get
Yeah, it's a lot of Disney.
Linkin Park. Wheatus. I'll do some Teenage Dirtbag.
Angel rowing down from top side. Actually,
Pops.
ZDZ will kill Keshi here if he's not careful.
Missed the boulder toss. That gets a bit spicy. Gold card's coming, tries to buff through the wall. He's missed 2 important skill shots, and the autos just keep rolling. He's got to TP out. Don't think the gold card part 2 will be allowed to come on through, but Keshi fumbling that pretty important side lane play there. Good from ZDZ.
Yeah, now the thing is, the ultimate vision from ZDZ ran out, which meant that the kill couldn't come through. I think if the Destiny had lasted a couple of seconds longer in terms of the vision, he would have actually had the auto attack uptime to kill him. Teleport now from Harry, who's going on to TF. He wants to get the return play. ZDZ needs to be careful. This is looking for him.
Well, it will be. They're going to try and make
Arn's
that play.
died on the other side.
What? Yeah, he has. That's unfortunate. Now, Heru goes sliding on in, but the Jin is dead. Corki Nami finds that combo in mid lane by the looks of it. Heru slides the soldiers forwards, though, and the Conquering Sands will bring low the Gambler from Bilgewater.
Yeah, slides forwards the soldiers who slide the spears in turn into ZDZ, who goes down. Baron is started by EDG, though. They'll lose their top laner. There's no teleport from Herod. There's no teleport from Keshi. This is likely going to be an uncontested Baron. Arn, of course, dying off of the screen because we're focused on bot lane. Junhao not going to get close enough, so EDG in firm control of this game now.
Elm warp straight over here to try and get from that Herald towards that mid lane.
It's just a reset one. It was just a reset. I wasn't looking for the big play there, though, but I understand the excitement. Whenever a Realm Warp is doing something weird, you just have to like take that moment and go, hang on, what's actually happening here? It's one of the great things about Rise. Okay, Arn just jumped up too far in mid lane and he got punished. He got corkied. He had the barrier, gets flash auto, dies. Leave, good DPS check, got a lot of gold earlier, now he's at the 3 homes, and the Fiend Hunter bolts Corki.
Love it.
Is here now for assassination potential. It means that, you know, if he does fire out that ultimate, his next 3 autos are going to be really powerful.
I say, if you manage to do that plus like a Foss Bomb auto trade, you can do some serious pain. I kind of like it. I think the only thing you have to be a bit careful of doing this, though, is when you use your rockets. Yeah. You don't get to just be circumspect with your rockets anymore.
Arn just missed 3 minions, and that's why he's emoting. Oh, Parky does Be a Man from the Mulan movie. Now, we do have a parody of that for Cream on Top Esports, because he was only an assassin player, and then he became the mage. So it was like, be a mage.
Be a mage. You've had enough of these roaming mid-slay.
Exactly. We're working on it. We're working on it. You see, there's potential there. For those of you who were around in like 2013, 2014, remember Monte Cristo doing a lot of that. There was like 7 colors of Najin, I think it was, from Pocahontas. Something like that. Yeah, that was great. I kind of missed that era of parody. Back in the early days of League, there was so much good content from the likes of, you know, Bad Administrator. We had TV Skyen doing a lot of those kind of music parodies as well. The This Is War rap battles, fantastic. I love the part 3.
A few friends were in that.
Oh, really? That's cool. I really like the Shadow Isles one because it got a bit more rocky. Like the Mordekaiser verse was so cool, man.
Shout out to Angelis, wherever you are. Once did a music video with her.
Yeah, cool. That I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's how I met Safi.
Oh yeah, one of our voice actor friends there, Saf, who's very, very cool. I want them to be in League one day. I want them to be in League one day.
She has such a good voice for it as well.
Yeah, she can pull off a very convincing yodel, which you'll believe it when you hear it. So anyway, Safia, you're out there. Get yourself a yodel. All right, so EDG.
I kind of want to do the Mancunian accent. I think we're shy of Mancunian accent in here. Bilgewater, Mancunian, done with your BS.
I mean, yeah, because the thing is, a lot of it kind of, because of this one movie which came out in the 1930s, most pirates are now Bristolian.
Yes,
which is
true.
Even though pirates were not really all from Bristol, or, you know, it's basically a Captain Barbossa accent from most of your accents from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
were basically Bristolian because they came, you know, from that kind of era of Hollywood, really.
Let's start believing in League of Legends. You're in one.
Man, Matt Mercer is very recognizable in every role he does. He's a great voice actor. I'm like, wow, that is Matt Mercer. It's cool because every time you hear Gangplank, you're like, that's Matt. That's great.
The one I hadn't quite clocked it was him until I went, I've heard that voice now. Is Wolf.
Oh no, I know. I clock that every time, Sam. Clock it every time.
Didn't realize it.
Clock it. Spill the tea. Clock it. Have you ever seen those videos of like the millennial people who never developed a personality? So all they say is like the buzzwords from millennialisms.
Hang on, bit of a chunk here from Keshi, but doesn't really find very much there. It's a little bit underwhelming. Angel now has a monster shield, and Keshi needs to back away. The TP start flying. The deadly flourish only really takes a shield off of Angel. Now EDZ's turned up and maybe regrets his choice as flash out from Junhao, so maybe he regrets them more. Curtains get called. No one really wants to tag these up. The far side Eldrace is good, and the TP away. And now actually look at the other side of the reset. He does actually get them out to safety. Good recall from Keshi. Xiaohao hops over the wall. The crystallized little obnoxious, the flag, the drag, the catapult,
he's
the
gone
TP
too
back
far.
in, and Keshi should get this one. The blast code. Last auto was still in the air though, and things get messy.
He goes way too far, gives a shutdown over to Keshi and EDG. Look, they're still very firmly in the lead. As Junhao might actually die now. He doesn't have the Q. Used it already on the camp, and Leave nearly takes his head off.
He might need to flash here, actually. Does cleanse well, and Valkyrie's out, but now Heru's around. Now Leave's gonna fall. That's unfortunate.
Okay, what the hell is happening now? EDG had such control over this game, and they gave over 2 big shutdowns back to back. Very fortunately for EDG, there's no objective available. We've got a minute and a half till Baron, 2 minutes until the Dragon. They are going to lose themselves a mid lane out of turret, though. It's not an objective bounty, but TT get themselves a good amount of stuff across the map. Feather's even roaming topside. Junhao just behind them. The wall's coming up. Here comes the Glacial Storm. The Q has to be flashed away from. Feather playing that quite well there. While you're stunned, you can't reactivate the Q, so you have to be stood at max range to get that stun, and it'll pop itself there. Forces the flash out as EDZ, quite importantly there. Keshi was in the brush, jumped forward and got the Mega Nart and the wallop just at the end of it. Does get a huge amount of damage turned back though. The Gluttonous Greaves gives Angel a bunch of healing and shielding there too. Nasty stuff. Gluttonous Greaves upgraded for mid lane, give you a bunch of value. This is a messy fight after that though. Leave doesn't really get involved. And despite the fact that I think misses every single ult shot and gets cancelled at the last one there too. Doesn't matter, and the Xiaohao goes too far. It's a good Q and W from Feather and Arn to force the flash. Wall comes through, and then he realizes he's gone way too deep. Everyone else has bailed out. Xiaohao, that's way too far.
I mean, the idea is if he gets that kill, he gets the reset and things are fine. That doesn't happen, though, as the recall came on through and things got a little spicy, to say the least of things. Baron spawns in 10 seconds. TT managed to get 5 kills onto Heru now as well, who's now at 3 items himself. Shadow Flame into a squishy comp. Azir's level 16. You can begin to threaten here, I think.
Absolutely. So, TT they're with much more within touching distance than they were before. Now, if it comes to a straight 5v5, EDG will still obliterate them. I'm sorry, this is just too powerful. A Corki, too powerful a Rise, and of course the Neferi as well. Harry does have a lot of gold now, though. He died in that first blood. He's since picked up 5 kills, and a lot of that came in the last few minutes, really, for himself in terms of that gold earned with shutdowns and the like. 25 seconds till Dragon. Maybe if Heru has a really good fight, miracles could happen.
Rapid fire proc there onto Leave, drops about 10% of his HP. Catching that Corki can be a big deal. Would be Soul again for EDG. The river looks real dark though for Thunder Talk, and I've not been impressed with either team from both games on their recontests and retakes of the river. At least here in force are Thunder Talk, and this is a bit more considered, could work from them. Leave has to be a bit careful again, does have the flash worth noting, didn't burn that in that last sequence.
Yeah, Kashi does have flash, and he's got his Mega now. The problem is it's going to time out pretty soon. ZDZ pops the ultimate, spots all of them. Kashi's running out of Mega. That's a big loss, and the Mega's down.
Feather.
Feather is burst out completely, almost down to Egg.
Does just about survive though. The wall's in. ZDZ over the back. There should still be the Dragon picked up by Thunder Talk. Good work. Jumping onto Angel. Has to flash. Mega code available. Should get him out to safety. That's a decent tidal wave. Disengage. Watch ZDZ on the flank. Does he want to look for a gold card? Thunder Talk still on the retreat, trying to find their way back out. The damage back onto Leave is good. Flag and drag in. Knock up onto Leave. Curtains get caught. Flag and drag. Until the Cataclysm is decent to follow. The Realm Warp down. And EDG can still hunt for a little bit more. They're going to find another stun. Keshi nearly at Mega. The Sterax is procced. Man advantage in TT's health bars look dubious to say the least.
They do, but Heru is still up with ult. They have the passive. The wave is going to deny EDG quickly getting towards that tower. Rocket missing. Here comes Xiaohao.
All the soldiers, though, get immediately arisen, and Xiaohao has to back away.
I guess it's Dragon for one. That's not bad from TT, Sam. That's not bad at all. Managed to get 4 people out. Junhao dies. Gets himself a GA on that recall, too. Heru very nearly one-shot Angel. He was lucky to get away with his own play there. That Rise on the other side. He was isolated. One of the things about Rise, very tanky, very high damage, but the low range means that if you're going for a pincer movement, you can get shut down, like 1v3s and the like. Now, Baron's up on the table. This will be the next big objective available for either team, and despite the fact that EDG have such a large gold lead, it doesn't feel nearly as in their control as it was a little while before. We saw this a lot last year when the lead was of course, off the team was on EDG, and we saw this a little bit in Split 1-2. EDG can get large gold leads, but objectives have been their foible. They have not been where they found their success.
And look, Leave is strong, but I actually think Heru being a real point of pressure in his own right is now a problem. He can carry fights from significantly further away. The Azir and the Jhin are outranging at this point, and I'm also going to put this out, like, ZDZ, the team fighting on the TF, has not been spectacular as yet. Yes, there's a gold lead there. Yeah, he's annoying, but we've got to be able to find plays like this from Leave.
He gets a good chunk out of Junhao. Still has that GA. So he'll be safe for now. But ZDZ, knowing that HP is down, is going to pop the ultimate. Keshi gets the Mikhails. Does he fly anywhere with it? No, they're not going to pull the trigger on it. Instead, they're going to go mid lane instead. Not look for the fight, but look for the play in mid lane instead. Crystallize comes through. 4th shot loaded up from Arm, but that means that they're not back to wave clear. Keshi and Feather will do that instead. I mean, Feather has a 10-stack Rod of Ages. He's actually all right at the wave clearing now, I suppose, comparative to many others. I don't know what Feather's next item's going to be, actually. He's got the Mikhails in there. Not often you think about a 3rd item for a support, but if he can get himself something like a Leandries, might actually be all right for him. Ult down from ZDZ, as we were saying. 2.5 minutes until the next Dragon. Big fight will lead to the Baron, and probably the game if EDG get it. TT, if they get the Baron, though,
things get a bit spicier,
really spicy, which is why EDG, they can't just blindly run around the map. It's a little bit worrying that they've not been able to clean up a good fight for a while.
Yeah, and again, look, the gold lead is very much there. It's just a question of where it is. Like, Xiaohao's got it, but does the Neferi have what it takes to get into range to kill people off? Not been a lot of action from this Neferis yet. Like we said, mid lane largely back to even, and Leave does have damage, but it requires him to put himself quite close range to get it off.
Hang on. Yeah, it does. I mean, I was a little bit worried there, because the Fiend Hunter Bolt's giving the auto crits, and then having the Infinity Edge for that does help him quite a lot with this kind of build. We need to talk about the TF top here now, too, because he has 300 gold, so that's going to be 300 times 5, which is about, you know, basically the gold lead is about 1,500 gold, right? Because it's about 5 gold per minion kill. Yeah. So he's got about 1.5k gold lead for himself there, which is basically just his passive. TF is the AD variety, doesn't teamfight spectacularly well. It's fine. He has the fire cannon, still be doing enough, but you're more about, you know, up to kind of extended DPS where you run someone down with the move speed from your Zeal items, and then the Storm Razor passive, and you know, Kraken Slay giving you some as well.
Infinity Edge might change that, I suppose, for ZDZ if he gets there. 1 second on the Destiny Gate has now got that
We'll see
cooldown.
if he even builds it, because he's building towards a longsword in there, which isn't part of the Infinity Edge build. Anyway, it's not the best champion AD variety to actually carry a game through its gold lead. At that point, I mean, you do have the rise, you have the core keep, right? As Junhao once again jumps forwards. And again, despite this gold lead being so heavily in the favor of EDG, I don't feel that confident to the point where actually TT say we can actually look at the Baron. They get the TF ultimate. He'd have to go up towards this top side. He's been in bot lane all this time. They're going to back off and take the Void Scuttle instead.
I have an idea about where the vision is. TP into the mid lane. EDG need to be a bit careful. Curtains get called. Leave at threat. Angels tagged initially. Looking at Leave, who just get over the wall. The flash over. That's Leave in danger. Has to flash out himself. And now Junhao is in danger. Gets the Cataclysm down. The GA likely procced on. Interrupted by the Tidal of ZDC. Threatening at the other side. The GA down as Junhao needs to try and flag and drag away and does. But Xiaohao gets in and that's the reset this time. No interrupt, no silliness. And EDG with the Realm Warp will follow. Angel picks up Feather. And Heru escapes briefly, but the rest of the team crumbles as EDG finally find the fight they've been looking for.
All right, TT found their survival game in game 1. The stakes are a little lower now, but we will be going for 3, and that will determine 2nd and 4th seed. 1 game to determine 2 very different seeds going into our Knights Rival stage. EDG better in the early game, better around their laning phase, and slaughter TT across the game throughout most of their lanes.
Have we talked about the Fiend Hunter Corki? Yes, we have, and Leave does deliver the damage at the end of it all. Attempted pick onto Leave, they don't succeed.
Game now, though, there we go. Took us a little while into game 3, EDG TT.
Just having a bit of an early tete-a-tete with EDG's bot lane. Leave, Xiaohao, and Jue, so the jungle also involved. Just looking to get some early wards down. Missed that Mystic Shot, but the Blooming Burst will land. Not the high note as I got that one wrong that first time. How are we feeling about Zerayumi in this draft? Because my worry here with that Gragas last lock as well, Al, is between the Nico and the Gragas and the Wukong and even the Aurora, right? Like, the Zeri's ability to get in and keep doing damage might be quite limited with all the disruption she has to navigate.
And I think particularly with, you know, the Nocturne and the Jace, I mean, they have like a spell shield on the Nocturne. It's not easy to stay in the place to do damage. So what TT are going to have to do is use their early power very well. Junhao is not going to spot Xiaohao. Oh, Xiaohao, that's magnificent. Now, they might know he's somewhere. They're pinging in there. He might have walked over vision, but how quickly can he get there? It's going to get very, very close. Not taken by the Dustbringer there. Gets the level 2, and Junhao will similarly match. He's going to have to get himself the Q out. Is the Fear Tether there? Yes, it is. He'll get the Fear Tether. Xiaohao might have to flash the wall here.
Some stacks. They don't want to keep chasing, especially because Angel had shoves. It would come a 1v2 a little too quickly. Nicely done.
That's really important. That's a camp away from the enemy jungle. Now, Junhao will likely to get into enemy side of the jungle too, but you're not expecting a Wukong to take a camp away from a Nocturne. This is something that Xiaohao has occasionally done. If you remember Knights Rivals last split, a couple of the games around there, Xiao had some very inventive invades rather. You know, he is a jungler which is, I think, slipped below the radar of a lot of people's kind of personal tier lists in the LPL. Xiaohao has actually been a very good jungler for quite some time. It's not a good tower shot to take that leaf, but Xiaohao's been a player who, even since like 2023, I've been sat and thinking, yeah, this guy's really good. This has not really had the teams to show it on. He had that one split in spring 2024 where he went on to Weibo with ZDZ. Of course, the top jungle duo have stayed together for literally like 4 years at this point. And then they got removed because Tarzan and Breathe came through. Did I think that ZDZ and Xiaohao were the problem? No, not really. But you can't really do much about being replaced by Tarzan, who's the best jungler in the LPL on his day and one of the best in the world, right? So Xiaohao is one of those players I think deserves a lot more respect.
Thank you for the sub, by the way, Vixarian. Mid really cool little story time there from Nymaera, talking about Xiaohao and his journey through the LPL. Kind of been in a bit of a tricky position here and there. Considering he's actually been pretty good, just like not Tarzan, which is, you know, most junglers in the world, bluntly.
Coming back into this game, though, because again, hang on a second. ZDC, really scary there. Turret shot. Yeah, that was close. Gragas used to be a good matchup into the Jace because you could poke out and sustain. He's lost a little bit more on that now. Xiaohao's actually going to walk up with a level advantage onto Junhao.
Yeah.
I think he wins this now. That Nocturne's got to be careful.
Maybe Warrior Trickster forwards gets another bonk down with a crushing blow. Could wait, I think, on a Nimbus strike here and make this a bit spicy. Does force the flash. Flashes to follow. Last crushing blow. Autos from both sides slowing with the red buff and they can't get any more. I think you had to give that one up as a lost cause after the flash came through.
Now,
but
if
still
they
damage
can
done.
actually cancel the... No, the wave's not close enough. They can't go for a dive there. Xiaohao's flash a little too far. Didn't have the cooldowns. But yeah, Xiaohao, this isn't meant to happen. If you pick a Nocturne, you want the opposite of this happening. Exhaust dropped on both sides in bot lane.
Yeah, again, Lee's picked that one up as well, so the trade is good on that front. Barrier to body block a fair amount of it. Leave left low goes down. It's spicy on the bot side of the bottom blocks, and the Zeri Yuumi come out ahead.
Now, I'm not going to say this very often, but holy crap, the Yuumi mechanics. You don't say that often about this champion, but hopping off, hopping on, using the whole breadth of the Yuumi HP bar made such a difference there. Feather and Arn take down Leave and Jue in the 2v2, and Sam, that's so important. With Junhao falling behind the pace of the game on a Nocturne who can really ill afford to do that, this bot lane getting something out of this 2v2, it was necessary, Sam. This is something which is maybe saving the game. You know, the Q goes wide. You know, the Yumi's untargetable here. The root goes wide too. Jue not quite hitting either of them. Exhaust coming through from both. But watch how Feather plays this. Blocks out a couple of the auto attacks. Manages to jump off, jump on. Blocks another. No, actually, no. The W does go onto Arn there. Manages to walk through there for the last auto attack. And realizes, hang on, I really do have to be putting in damage here. And Arn gets both kills. Arn gets both kills. So the Zeri starts scaling.
That is potentially season defining, actually. 87 stacks on the Cull, which will be stacked up as well. You got the 2 kills, you got the early slingshot. She's got the bow as well. We're seeing a lot more of our AD carries go towards the Doran's bow now, and that makes this bot lane really alarming because look, Leave was up 10 CS. Now things get interesting because the Zeri is going to be allowed to scale into her point of power in this game with kind of little that EDG get to do about it, bluntly.
Maybe the Zeri can make a mess of things. There's not... Look, it's a hard team fight to play because we talked about the disruption, but it's not a lot of point and click. You have to kind of flash forwards on the Nico to confirm the CC. You need to be quite accurate with the Gragas casks into a very high move speed, high mobility Zeri, because of course a lot of the changes to this champion have been over the last patch, for those of you that don't know. She's slightly higher range than she was, slightly lower burst, particularly on her right click auto. One of the changes which did come through, they kind of nerfed the attack speed to AD scaling on her Q. So again, for people less familiar with Zeri, attack speed lowers her Q cooldown, which is effectively her auto attack. But once after a certain point, when you meet your kind of attack speed cap, it goes into AD instead. They've changed the ratio on that a couple of times, so now it got a little worse. Now it's a little better again. And what this means is just that the Zeri has slightly higher range, better DPS, and the big change was that her ult gives her more ramping move speed again. So she's less bursty, but if you give her an extended chance to run you down, you never stop her doing damage.
Somewhere out there, Paze's eyes are gleaming. Was always one of our big Zeri enjoyers out and around. All the while, Xiaohao looking for a potential looking on this Gromp respawn. Again, the early start from Xiaohao was great. Now that bot lane misfire, costing EDG just a little bit more than I think they are happy with. The Ultra Shock Laser is just wide there. Let's just looking up some of those patch changes onto the Zeri and exactly what did go on down there. Keshi on this Jace. Done a decent job of getting a CS lead against the Gragas. Again, Gragas is somewhat happy to drop some CS and just be useful later on, but still the Jace coming out ahead fairly significantly.
I think I'm actually conflating some of the patch to 0.10 things with the 0.9. So, but in terms of the full change to the Zeri read amount now, basically, the right-click range from her from a right-click is increased to 550 rather than 500 range, so it's slightly longer range. The execute threshold is a little higher too, but that's particularly useful onto minions rather than anything else. It means her farm is a little better on that. Her on-hit damage from her Q is a little lower, and the AD to attack speed conversion is a little lower as well. So it's basically her Q is less damage, but it does have you do have a little bit more consistency from the passive. Big thing is that your Spark Surge isn't just like the next 3 attacks or whatever it is, and now it's just a window of time where when you go forwards with your E, you just have the next, I think it's 5 seconds of it being kind of that pass-through auto with extra damage. A lot of Zeri's damage does come through from her E, from those of you who aren't aware of it. And then her ult is slightly less bursty as well, but it does give you more movement speed. So basically, there's a lot of numbers being thrown at you. Zeri is better ability to chase you down, slightly less burst.
which is probably not a bad way to run that champion. Jway just playing as an additional minion. Do they have an idea? Haru's got to have some clue here. Yeah, and will not land those Tangle Barbs. And so Haru will be fine under this turret with the Nico unable to land the CC that they were attempting to find from a cheeky mid lane shapeshift.
Yeah, I'd say people have developed some anti-Nico tech over time. Not everyone is aware of it, though. Basically, if you look at your minimap and you don't see the Nico on it, and you press tab, but Nico's in vision, she's hiding as something. Hang on, Dway, buddy, you got to be careful there.
That's going to be the final chapter coming on down. Forced the flash out of the Nico.
And he even pops the ultimate there, but what this means is that the Nico just can't disrupt them in lane now. Uses that big cooldown, as does Feather. The ultimate's very, very important for both those champions to get control over that. And the thing is, this bot lane being ahead, and Keshi also doing well versus EDZ, despite the Gragas being a better team fighting champion, I think, in this game because of the disruption he can bring. It means that Junhao's early pathing has been somewhat covered for. We'll see what Xiaohao can do. You're absolutely right in mentioning that the Wukong was one of his best champions historically. He was so good at this over the last couple of years, and he is into the game. It feels like, for me, Sam, Xiaohao needs to be the difference maker here for EDG.
I have to make that attempt. Haru to just go back for some Merc Treads and an Actuator, so is in a pretty happy spot here versus some of the CC and magic damage heavy comps. Even then the Ezreal's got a little bit of magic damage to him, does have a fair amount of AP scalings, but you're into double AP solo lanes plus the Nico, who is a surprisingly high damage support, so all of that makes some sense to me. Trade in the top lane, of course, with the Drunken Rage. ZDZ can heal up a little bit, which is a little ironic considering what the title of that ability is. Generally doesn't lead to healing on the whole.
It's like, wow, let me just imbibe this poison legitimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. We're a strange odd species, aren't we? Take that poison as a recreational thingy. Hang on, ZDZ. Getting a decent trade here. Falls into Flash with the cask.
Let's work on that one. We'll let a barrel roll after. And Keshi forced to back away. Haru slides forward with the Shuriken flip, looking for a 5-point strike or two, and does get them onto Angel, but traded back well with an electrocute.
Yeah, there's some interesting Akali trading patterns against champions which are just outside of your lane. One of the more important ones is kind of putting down your Shroud and then E-ing kind of opposites. You dash towards them, get that Q, and then you can get the 5-point strike and then kind of jump back to the minion for a quick trade, particularly with the Actuator and sorry, the Alternator. From the Hextech Triangle, you know what I mean?
Hextech Actuator, yeah.
The Alternator.
Alternator,
yeah.
Oh, I said, oh, no, you've got me saying it. Not again, it's going to be realm
Actuator. Then I said Actuator. I said, no, you've baited me into this.
It's Alternator, oh, no.
And it's Alternator. It's Hextech Triangle, which is also famously shown within Arcane. The Hextech Alternator is on a table. It's, you know, in season 1 where Jace has like the Hextech crystal things, and he's holding it in that little device, and that's where you know, Powder and Vi steal the crystals from. That is an Alternator. Yeah. It is the Hextech Triangle, Sam. That's what they hold in him. Anyway, so from Arcane fame, it's really nice when you get that just Q tap there. Xiaohao on top side looking for a dive.
And we go Dway's round as well. Junhao also here with a paranoia. Here we go. The lights get turned off and they realize this might be a little bit more than they wanted to put Chew off, but actually the Pop Blossom invalidates the Nocturnal immediately, and things get a bit spicy. Body slam interrupts. Haru tries to get the kill, flash away, does try and get the kill here as Arn's roamed up with the Spark Surge, so we'll get that one back at the very least, but still 2 for 1. Well played by EDG.
I think there might have been an audible forehead slap on the mic there. Because what I saw was Junhao turn off the lights and fly directly into a Nico ult and immediately die. Sam, this Nocturne game has not been good. Look, Junhao's actually been pretty good over the last year or two as well. Those of you who remember him on Ultra Prime last year will quite fondly remember his Neferi and his Shinzao. He was genuinely very good at points on that roster. This game's not been it from him, though, and I think actually the Jarvan game last game was also not a hit from him either, despite the fact that the first game was much better on that. And just watch this again. Just flies in and just gets immediately one-shot. But, mate, just don't fly in. You just are giving a donation over at that point.
Double Cyclone, double True Shot Barrage, double Pop Blossom, and then actually ZDZ interrupts Harry with the Body Slam and the Cask, so he doesn't manage to kill anyone else under the turret, and forces a lot of extra cooldowns to get that kill. Arn, unfortunately, on the roam up with the Yumi means he can't escape, but I appreciate the skills.
Arguably, it's worse giving the kill over to the Zeri. Gonna stop the recall. Oh, Keshi stops on the recall. Good damage back, but he shouldn't be living through this.
Does need to flash to leave, but the kills will still surely come on forwards. There'll be a form change in a dream, but you can dodge, dip, duck, dive, and die is what happens there.
John Howe has 4 seconds on his ultimate. If they stay in vision, he might jump at them, actually. He just used the E. Here comes the Nocturne.
Final chapter comes on forwards and Leave dies. It's donated over to the Nocturne this time, but Arn's still able to get involved.
All right, so basically what happened was Leave and Dre canceled the back of Keshi, and they were probably aware that it wasn't safe to be there, but after killing Jace, they thought, oh, it'll be fine. And the dominoes fall, so it actually ends up getting them killed. The fact that they jump onto Keshi, Arn doesn't get the kill this time. It's Junhao. The Zeri getting gold is a big issue for EDG. He's got the Yuntal. He's about to cash in his Cull as well. And despite the fact that he's even in gold with the Ezreal, the Zeri Yuumi may be able to solo carry this. May. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of disruption that we've already highlighted. Another thing you got to note as well is that the healing boots, the Gluttonous Greaves, they stack up based on the amount of kills and assists that you have. He's already got 3-0 on that. I can't remember how many of those he had, but he's got a lot more healing now.
Got a flank angle coming in from Xiao Hao and Dway, though, trying to get on top of this Zeri, who's just about out of range, and so the flank immediately goes awry. I appreciate the look in there, though.
Yeah, could have pulled that Cyclone. Don't think they would have had enough damage with the heal and the exhaust from Feather. If the Arn having the flash G meant that you would likely be overextending for that. And then the worry is you're against this area that's got a lot of gold early. You do not want to be giving potentially other kills up there. Instead, the EDG will peel back towards the Dragon instead of going for a larger play there. Angel will sub back into EDG after taking well, 2 games off for Sinian to sub in and see how he weighed up against the Nirvana composition. Has been much better than Hamid, is worth noting. Sinian, good first game and an awful second game from him in that first series, meant that Angel realistically needed to come back for EDG.
Does indeed. Again, reminder what's at stake here. You win second, you lose fourth. That's a fairly big jump in the standings, and really will predicate who you end up playing in that important best of 5.
Really want to call out actually VidStudent in Twitch chat as well, saying that it's Zeri Yuumi on a Cloud Rift as well. Now, when you've got TT with an Akali that wants to roam to the play, the Nocturne that wants to roam to the play, the Zeri Yuumi that can get over walls and use his Yuumi move speed as well, the Cloud Rift means that the response time from TT is really fast. And while technically the Cloud Rift also applies to EDG as well, TT's composition is more built for trying to make it into those plays first. Like right here, just up much quicker than potentially would have been otherwise.
They're going to see if anyone's in the bushes with that Scryer's Bloom. The exhaust comes down. Angel tries to bounce away. The weirding to get an additional bit of movement. Should be out safely. The bunny hops on out.
Forced away from that. Use that ultimate for the cost of the exhaust. The exhaust not the highest cooldown summoner spell. If they can use this to kind of chunk to get towards top lane turret, they're pretty happy.
Dway potentially threatening shape changer spot there. We'll have an idea now, so that'll be the end of any potential flash plays. Actually, Dway didn't have the flash anyway.
They actually just checked out that brush with the prowling projectile from the Union, so they were aware that there's a potential jump over the wall. Nocturne was also hanging around too. TT have got the message. The game is about the Zeri Yuumi, so they know that Xiaohao's there now. That's a good route.
Nicely done. Good damage back. Arn's left low, but can spark surge away. The paranoia was forced, though. True Shot Barrage comes on down.
That was scary. He lost a huge amount of HP, more than I thought he would do there. Arn lucky to get away with that one. Dway didn't expect him to land that route out of nowhere, and while we've been saying that the Zeri might be able to carry this game, it's moments like that which do give you room for pause, right? Where
I'll keep the game going. I don't want pauses.
No pauses, but room for pause. I mean, we need to have that for Yuumi. That's a cannon miss.
True. -1.
Yeah, but yeah, Arn, he's not tanky. He's not tanky. He'll have a little bit of healing, of course, coming through. A lot of bit of healing and shielding coming through from both the Gluttonous Greaves and the Yuumi as well. But if a combo like that lands in a team fight, that is effectively fight over from TT.
We'll do the plan. Keshi looking for perhaps a bit more work here. Won't quite find it. Angel's going to get the shove through this bot lane with the rest of EDG. And should be able to secure that turret. No issue.
The gold lead goes into EDG's favor. Was briefly there from TT because of the kills onto Arn. I mean, Leave is still stacking up fine. He'll get himself towards Moramana on a decent clip here. Dragon in 2 minutes, so nothing big to fight over right now. We're still scaling for the moment. And when it comes to these first big fights, the big things you got to look out for is basically just how many skill shots hit Arn on the Zeri. Now, Arn on EDG was in a position in a great many games to try and be that game-ending threat on and stuff like the game we always call back to was the game which decided in 2025 whether it was going to be WE or W. Oh, hang on a second, jumping into the top lane now.
Yeah, good damage onto Arn, but he survives for a significant amount of time. They can't secure the kill, but that's going to be Arn largely out of the play. The other side of the shot blast of the paranoia means that ZDZ does fall 1 for none.
Okay, so the jump onto Arn, actually, it's just saying it. He's been in positions to carry important series before. EDG WE was the big one we refer back to, which he lost despite being potentially in a game-winning position on the Kai'Sa, caught out of the air by a Skarner mid-Kai'Sa ultimate.
That's
shout out for Monkey. That was actually where the WE story started. If EDG had won that, got to Group Ascend, how different an LPL we might be living in, legitimately.
Yeah.
Because they're such an important team.
We are, though, in a slightly different world, and TT looking at their former AD carry, or rather, EDG looking at their former AD carry and just going, surely not. Surely not like this. Leaves actually managed to pick up a fair amount of gold himself, actually a couple kills of his own under that top lane turret when they made that aggressive dive, and you can see it there in the overall gold standings, near enough neck and neck between the two AD carries.
Lots riding on this AD carry battle. It just feels though that, I mean, yeah, the gold's back to even, and I'm aware that the Akali can also cause a bit of a ruckus as well. I just look at the amount of disruption which EDG have though, and it should be so much easier for them to find that first target. EC, I'm not sure they're going to have the luxury of playing fights slow around the Jace. That's my big worry here. Now, Keshi is not crazy far ahead, like you'd expect a Jace to be from laning phase. Both top laners 0 and 2, but ZDZ much happier if both top laners are kind of deprived of gold. The Gragas is way better on the utility front.
And again, it's good catch-up from ZDZ, because Keshi was up about 20 CS, but those couple deaths have cost him in that sense. Has gone towards the Shojin, will likely will go towards, actually was going towards a Ghostblade and kind of switched tracks, I think, realizing, hey, I just need a bit more HP. And the Shojin is actually one of the better ways of dealing with a Gragas.
Does still give you decent gold as well, so it's not the worst build there. Dragon up now. Okay, Arn doesn't have flash. They don't have the heal on the Yuumi. Arn's got to show up, Sam. He's got to show up. For EDG to win, they need to really disrupt the carries of TT. You have a lot of squishiness on their team. Xiaohao has a big cyclone waiting with that flash.
Second dragon available for either team. EDG in the river first, looking to get this one burned down. 3,000 HP, can still paranoia in. Where's the turnaround play? Dragon picked up. Are we getting a fight afterwards, or is this for the end of the play? Paranoia pop, Hero on the flank angle. Backline they go. Twilight Shroud comes down. The pop doesn't to disengage, but Arn is still free firing, full auto. Never mind the burst fire, but the Herald play from Leave knocks everyone up. ZDZ still in danger. The skies we go on, just about surviving. The Yuumi keeps their person alive. Angel, unfortunately, likely to meet the devil here. Wait, the True Shot Barrage makes that a lot spicier. Flash away from Keshi. John Howe in the backline gets at least one more as Angel's final passive does bring low the Jace.
Oh, it's a mess, but TT come out on top. Sam, the lights being turned off meant that TT couldn't disrupt in the way that they wanted to. The cask came through far too late for EDG to disengage. I think ZDZ needed to have a better fight. Arn got to free fire, and the Zeri brought hell upon EDG. It's a real mess here. Look, Harry gets into the flank. I think they're so scared of the Akali, they forget that the main target is really actually the Zeri. Watch how late this cast comes through. The Cyclone is trying to stop the Akali, but it doesn't get onto the Zeri. The flash forward from the Nico, it feels a little bit disconnected, and while Leave does survive, just look at this. The cask is too late from ZDZ. By that point, Arn's taken half the HP off of a bunch of different people, and TT have closed the distance. Feels like the disengage from EDG was just not organized in the way they needed it to be.
And this got a bit spicy, basically, because Keshi says, I can keep playing. Let's get the accelerated shot. Plus, got John Howe coming. Flashes some of the damage, and at least John Howe does pick up Leave. Gets a little bit spicy at the end there with Angel, but at least getting one back. But the problem is TT definitely came out with 4 kills. Yeah. Just better in terms of what EDG were managed to manage on the other side. Dragon at least went to
Dragon's good. Dragon's
EDG,
good.
but that's it.
Yeah, and Sam, that's a fight with Zeri not having flash.
Yeah.
My worry is what happens when Zeri has the flash and has another item, because we're getting close towards the Infinity Ocean. 3 items Zeri's normally where that champion becomes not okay.
I'm pulling out the paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm dropping a message to Wolf.
Yeah.
And I'm asking for Zeri certification pretty shortly. Right. Making it all set up.
Man, one of my like my highlight plays from LEC, which made it into the montage, was that's a certified Zeri moment. I can't remember who it was about, but I did have that from the LEC back in like 22 at some point.
My best one was the Category 5 disaster on the Victor.
No, the one which made it into that one that made it into the plays of the week.
Yeah.
You also had the Troll King one as well.
Yes.
Hang on, leave, jumped onto in the mid lane. Here comes On.
They do get a lot of damage down. Junho's just running at leave, and Keshi gets the kill. All the while, Ard has got himself some full auto. And the lightning crashes on down. Angel loses their wings. Fallen indeed. Go find your way back to Eden.
That's going to be the cask under the tab. It's not quite the angle they needed. Extra turret shot's going to get close, but the body slam is body blocked by Heru. Keshi will make it out. He'll return back to his castle. I'll be happy with that. Sam, they can go towards Baron. TT might have found the play which can put them into second seed of Nirvana.
Huge play through mid. They can pick up that Baron, as you know, 4,500 gold, and with Angel and Leave down, Xiaohao's got no flash, no ult, needs to find a way in, and this is going to be desperation stations. They need this play to work. Dway has a Pot Blossom. Maybe that's enough threat, and they have to pull off.
Yeah, so they're not going to use that to completely blow up in the game. If they committed to that, it would have potentially been an issue. Keshi, of course, dies. Of course, he does end up dying after I thought we'd made a wonderful escape.
Oops.
Nope, not quite to be that.
Killed him.
Great question, Sam. Great question. We'll find that out from the replay. So it was just way too far. Your disruption isn't here. You don't have a cast. Cyclone's not quite in range. It's way too high up that lane with a Nocturne in the game. Angel gets jumped onto by Harry. Actually misses the E there, and it doesn't actually end up being the death of... it still ends up being the death of him. Angel was trying to be on quick response time, just too much mobility from TT. We'll watch exactly what happened to Keshi, because I thought he just about lived here. Was it just, what, one last cast? What happens here?
Looks like maybe a dodgy reset timing. Yeah, that's what it is. He's on a wall. Oh, she's not. It's the control ward isn't stopping the vision.
So he is on the ward there. So what happens here? So then he forces that he's still on vision. And then, I mean, dude,
They've got two control wards. They think it's turned off.
It's we have played on this new map for a while now with those new mid lane bushes. You should know that that is not a safe place to put the control ward. It doesn't cover the whole bush from one side anymore.
Yeah, and that one will cost them. A little unfortunate. The problem is, I now hesitate to say this to people, but do look at the Zeri's inventory. Also look at the Yumi's inventory and realize that critical mass has been hit.
And they have both summoners. Feather has exhaust as well. Feather also has double items too with a Mikhail, so basically a pseudo cleanse, and then also the Ardent Sensor as well. So Arn is now a critical mass. We did say that the Zeri needed to be a factor. I think he has been the best player in this game, and I think that's been so important to them. TT, I would not have penciled them in as a top 2 Nirvana team, especially from the early split. EDG, we thought they'd be better than them, but Sam, EDG, they have continued to just stumble on these, you know, these series, which would really just capitalize on them being a very good set of individuals. They've just fallen prey to it time and time again.
Sometimes it's compositional, sometimes it's objective-based, but either way, EDG suffering here. Looking for a pick-off onto Harry. Will Shuriken flip away, but he's on a flank angle, but that means that the Gragas isn't here for disruption, and the Kakali keeps threatening. Out comes the Paranoia. Baron down to half. This is flippable. Shock Blast lands on everyone. Out comes the lightning crash as well. My voice goes up. EDG's health bars, on the other hand, go down. Arn is dead though. The exhaust onto Keshi. Heru brings another one low. This one's getting a little bit spicy, but now the Yumi's on top of the Sakali. Can threaten a few more people. Dway is going to back out. Angel also survived. I thought that was looking very good for TT. It might still. Dway gets the root. Will need to back out, and they can't necessarily get everything they were looking for.
CDC walking up and choosing the better option here. I think the Yumi still being alive can often just flip those damage calculations a bit over to the other side. It's a very good ult from Dway on the Nico. That almost saves them the entire game. You get a good fight there. You can go into a Baron for yourself. Probably are going to get a replay of that one. That feels like one which we should get a replay for. EDG stop the Baron. They get a shot down onto Arn as well. That is really important. They get some gold off the table there. TT still at the advantage in terms of gold, but I mean, with Dragon available, we might see another fight around that very, very quickly. Arn retains his flash. Looks like we're not going to get a replay of this, actually, because that Dragon's live. But basically, Nico got that ultimate while the Baron was aggroed onto them. Meant that Arn just died to both the champion and the objective damage. Dragon will go to EDG as TT sets up on top side around the Baron instead.
Yeah, they're giving up Soul Point. They know that's going to happen. They're going to step back up in that river and try and go again. Who's got summoners? Basically, every flash down aside from Xiaohao's and ZDZ's. Those are pretty significant. Arn still got his, so the Yumi and the Zeri together, still a threat. Heru on the flank angle again. I thought that Akali flank was going to be more dangerous than it was the last time. We're back in the same place as last time. Heru spotted out, the lights go down. Paranoia yet to be fully pulled on, makes a lightning crash to the back line. Going low and Angel's down. Pop Blossom again superb, but Arn's not really threatened this time. They blow up the Akali, but her damage in many ways is done, and Arn gets to keep on shooting. Leave trying for Mystic Shots, the W. Arn survives just about, but he needs to run away, and Leave maybe, considering he's a little more untouched, can start to threaten. The lights aren't looking great. The heals are coming in slowly from the Yuumi. The body block is there. The barrel roll just wide. The Mystic Shot just off.
That is close run stuff. We were talking about Arn so much, and he very nearly runs through EDG at the team fight, but Leave saves them at the final moment. 3.5 item Ezreal. Yep, that'll do it. Great amount of damage from the AD carry of EDG. TT. They thought that the last couple of Baron fights should be the death blow there, but actually, grand total of it now is that they've lost a dragon, lost a couple of shutdowns. They've increased their gold lead a little bit, and they are just about winning the team fights, but they're being slowed in their advance towards these objectives, which is a bit concerning. Now, I mean, the next fight, they have 0 flashes, which is very problematic against a Wukong and a Gragas. Starts with Harry finding his own angle, but he stopped on the jump through, and that's a great disengage from ZDZ. ZDZ, a year or two ago, got so much crap for how he was playing on various teams. I think he's actually been a pretty solid player, though, beyond what a lot of people have judged him for. Leave escapes the initial engage, which is, it turns out, almost as important as Arn escaping the initial engage, too. Both AD carries putting in a ton of work, and the Q accuracy, even against the high move speed Zeri, very nearly wins the day there for EDG.
On under 10 HP there. That is pretty ridiculous. Back to live we go. Heru gets tagged by that True Shot barrage. Not quite at the Lord Dominic's from the side of Arn. Although it might be Hex Optics looking at that. We'll keep an eye on it. Back to the Baron we go. TT at the scene of the crime, Al.
Okay, so Baron started up again. Remember, no flashes there from TT. EDG looking for that disruption. Can they cleanly shut down the Zeri?
Try and make that play happen. There's the lights turned off again. Heru on the flank looking for more work. The lightning crash comes on down. Arn's gone! Arn's gone! The Pop Blossom is superb! That's game! Surely that's game! Baron's going their way. Arn does not have the tools this time around, and the Zeri finds herself grounded.
Oh, Junhao will get run down too, almost certainly here. The burn keeps ticking. He's got a little bit more room
get the
to
wave,
maneuver.
though.
Got the wave. It's not going to be the game, but it will end up being the Baron. Angel, you got to be careful here. The Jace over the wall.
Does get that one back. That's fairly huge. Xiaohao's coming over himself. Doesn't have the Cyclone, but Keshi's now alone, may end up dying anyway. Just get a decent amount of damage onto Xiaohao, and this is stopping them doing this. They're taking the Baron properly. Actually, they did get that. I apologize.
Yeah, they got the Baron.
They've secured that. My bad.
Yeah, they got the Baron, and that is still going to be a Baron buff, which is going to go full kind of overlap with the next Dragon spawn. So EDG are still in firm control now, comparative to what it was. They've just cut off, what, 3,000 from the gold lead. They can build that up some more, and they can start sieging with actually quite a high AP Gragas, and then, of course, the range of the Ezreal and the Aurora as well. TT have been clumped up in the Baron pit too many times, Sam. And Jue's ultimates have been the game changer. I think these Nico ultimates at the Baron fights have saved the game. We said that Jue, on FBX, he made a montage reel of, beating teams like JDG, who were seen as such a better team than them at multiple points. Leave almost kills Junhao there, actually, with his ultimate, pushing in towards mid lane in a turret. I really think behind all of the damage done by Leave, who is still probably player of the game, Jue has had some magnificent team fights.
Yes, he has. And now towards these turrets we look again. TP back into mid from Angel. And we see EDG finally having their own proper advantage in this game. Felt like TT were the ones with everything to work with. Keshi goes in. That was a bit far, but hang on, the lights get turned off. Between Worlds burned as well, but that's the final chapter.
Harley's teleporting in for a flank. They wanted to look for a pincer, but it's not quite coordinated enough. That's a problem now. They've used that teleport. Akali's still on the flank. Have they seen them?
Oh, Junhao gets dropped incredibly low there as the cast forces him down to about 10%. Arn threatening. He's got his own lightning crash to work with. Where's that Akali? They don't know she's there. She's managed to throw down the sweeper.
Yeah, I don't think the option's there now. The rest of the team are backed off. Heru did invest the teleport for that. 20 seconds till Dragon. That'll be sold. We'll watch this again. Watch how Arn gets exploded. It's a cask into the Nico. The cask puts him into the Nico. Insane play. ZDZ also having a hell of a time in the Gragas. He stopped the Akali. He's picked off the Zeri. ZDZ is a player who, you know, a year or two ago was so heavily criticized. This has been an excellent game from him.
Soul available for EDG. They've got 30 seconds left on the Baron. A little late on that reset after all of the shenanigans meant that TT have been able to get out and down into this river. ZDZ on the flank, level 18 now on this Gragas. Got Zonya's, got Rocket Belt. Does have Flash as well. Important disruption tools available.
Okay, so, you gotta somehow escape the engage this time. That Zeri has so much damage to bear. Angel tries to fire off, can't quite get there. Heru is spotted now.
The lights get turned off. Can they disengage? Over the wall goes on, threatening. Heru on the other side gets exhausted briefly. The damage on the ZDZ is good. Arm being run out. The shield bow, the flash for the cyclone, and the crushing blow. Feathers off his carrier, and that means the cat gets skinned. Gets onto Heru, makes it a bit spicier. Leave is also dead. Junhao left low. The Yuumi difference might be shoots ZDZ over the wall. Doesn't find what he's looking for. Still goes into Xiaohao. Exhausted. That's back off cooldown. Makes it real spicy. Shuriken flip over the wall. Heru just about surviving, but not for long. And Xiaohao on the Monkey King crushes the hopes of TT in the fight.
Blood lines the river, Sam. The waters turn red as both AD carries die very early into the fight, meaning that it's left to the rest of the team to pick up the scraps. TT get the dragon, so it's not a soul for EDG. I'm actually quite hard pressed to say who comes out ahead from that. I suppose EDG get themselves into the gold advantage finally. Heru gets onto Ezreal, but he used the E to get over the wall, so he didn't have that for the insta-kill onto the Ezreal right at the start. Takes him a long time to get beyond that. Look at the AoE coming out from EDG again. The Nico and the Gragas do a good amount of work, but the problem is this time they can't protect the Ezreal. If the Ezreal was alive at this point, you would be cleaning up this fight and it'd be game over. Because both AD carries drop, it becomes a much more of a mess. And Heru, real credit to Heru, he's a player who I think has had a mixed split. This is an incredibly important and Kali fight for him, even in a game where he's actually struggled on that front. Lands an E over the wall, correctly guesses that actually they're going to be lining up just beyond that course. Has the control ward there too. Gets the
Z as well.
Nearly gets him. Sadly for him, ends up leading Feather to his death, and the Q misses just at the end there too.
Yeah, and of course, the other side of that is Xiaohao. What a team fight from him on the Wukong as well. Important sustained damage across that play. EDG still going to get the shove on in here. It is a desperately close game. 36 kills in 34 minutes. Tells you a lot about this game. Angel goes across the Veil.
Paranoia. This could be a problem, Sam.
Yeah, going to spot him out now, and that means he gets jumped on. He's lost his ult, lost his W, gets the E away. Heru's here, though, and the Bunny Debts tucked into the stew. Arms now here.
Oh, we've got a pause. He does come back. And we're back into live now.
Okay.
So Angel is still dead. We return play from Angel dying in the mid lane. ZDZ has completed his recall, and bloody hell, I hope he remains connected, Sam.
That's the plan. Hopefully things have been resolved, and we get to play out this game from here. EDG are in the driver's seat just about, but it is a close run thing. Close run thing indeed. So point for EDG. 200 gold in it, if that. The leads are split apart a little bit here. Leave at 5 items. Not quite there for the Zeri. Baron's up. We go again. Thunder Talk. Now onto the Baron.
Okay, so numbers advantage. Really helping out TT here. They have the Akali are available. ZDZ protecting the flank. Aurora is alive and coming back to the play.
Spotted the Akali just now. They know where she is. Gonna try and keep her away. The paranoia comes on down. They're jumping in. They split EDG up, but all right, alive is Leave doing good work. Angel blows up Junhao. Heru, though, kills off the Ezreal, and now Thunder Talk on their third attempt. Wei finally gets the Pop Blossom, but it's surely too little. It's surely too late. And the Gragas goes golden. But he'll have to pull one out for his own teammates. Thunder Talk, after all of the pauses, all of the drama, have just done it, surely.
TT wait a while for their killer blow, but they find it not once, not twice, but 3 times with a couple of pauses in between. TT will take the series and finish second in Group Nirvana.
It kind of takes the wind out of the sails. It adds all those caveats. It's a VAR. End of the game, I suppose. But with 4 members strong, the entirety of EDG looking at grayscale. Thunder Talk once again walk the walk in one final cataclysmic showing. They go second. EDG end up in fourth.
And IG in a T1 emote thrown up there at the end. TT will finish second in Group Nirvana after they started the day at threat of elimination. Let's hear those gyos, and then we'll get into the meaning of the series. Okay, so as I said, NIP are fighting for 5th. If NIP win this series, they will end this split in Group Ascend as 5th seed. Now, that will mean they are guaranteed to face up against the lowest... basically, they'll be the highest seed going into the Knights rival stage, which is basically bottom 4 of Ascend versus top 4 of Nirvana. Monkey is taking Raptors. He's immediately heading over to invade those. We'll talk about stakes a little bit later, because we've got some other meat to fry. Potentially a Grump meat. Monkey's heading over, level 2 to level 2. Vi is not a very good level 2 fighter. He's going to have to back off. So the Grump's going to reset. Monkey's not going to be able to make use of the fact that Vi had done a bit of damage to it. We'll take a bit of that now, been delayed on it. Guon, normally he's the one invading like this. Monkey's now going to head away from the Grump. Doesn't want to smite fight that. Instead, going up towards the Wolves instead. Guon heading over. I mean, the Vi does not win the 1v1 versus the Shinzo. He needs someone else to come over. So Kara's heading over now. That's more important. Getting pretty close, actually, to hitting both... the Smite or Guon. Draws now over. Won't get hit by that Q. Both AD carries are actually on the roam too. Monkey is aware that he's the stronger jungler. Now, this is something which I learned from I Will Dominate and Gilius. It's just that Vi cannot play at level 2. You have to get level 3. Level 3 is where Vi becomes very important. It's actually one of the reasons why Vi's fallen off a bit this split, is because of that. Cube almost gets the knockback into Tara and Tahoya. Doesn't quite, though. It's jarring to me to see these audiences where there are more women than men. Yeah, particularly in China and Korea, anywhere in Asia actually. It's a very, it's a much more gender balanced audience compared to the West. Now you go to, you know, go to the LEC and the LCS, and sure that this, you know, this is a fairly diverse crowd, for sure it is. In terms of both genders and identities and ethnicities, for sure it is. But particularly in the East, the gender balance is much more balanced between women and men. Go to see it, and a lot of people just go to hang out at games with their friends, right? As well, or couples like that too. It's just a much more accepted kind of social thing. It's a much more known social thing is the thing there. Right, so Guon did end up losing his bot side jungle. Did clear through his top side. He got himself his blue buff, his raptors, and his red buff. That's his 3 camps so far, whereas Monkey took his raptors, went over to Wolves, and Gromp took top Scuttle. Karras is not going to be able to stop Guon from getting bot Scuttle, and now he's actually behind bot lane. His Q's on cooldown for another 8 seconds. He's going to walk up to About. Doesn't have the Q for another 5. About will find him now. Q's coming up for cooldown in the next few seconds. Won't have to flash, though, because About is aware that I probably have to Q over the wall. Didn't see that Q charge up anyway. So, Guon not able to get any bot side camps. He's really trying. He's really trying. He's going to head over to the red buff now. Took his own red buff. Monkey's not been able to do the same. Urha's now walking over too, and Guon can't take it. He can't take it. He's really trying to get into the enemy jungle. Now, we did see that, you know, NIP are one of the most bloody teams in the early game here in the LPL. And this is kind of one of those reasons why, actually. They are a very active early game team around their jungler. Actually, this is going to turn up the volume a little bit on the clean feed, because I think in Xi'an they actually have a slightly lower clean feed on the whole, so hopefully this is fine in terms of, yeah. Or go on dates their direct sponsor. I've actually told that story there before, Fairytale. You're absolutely right. There's actually a reason why that is a sponsor of the LPL. Durex is a sponsor, but actually there are a lot of people who go on dates because esports is a shared interest, and why wouldn't you go and do stuff about your shared interest together, you know? Actually makes some sense, doesn't it? Cube does get the bot back onto Hoya, but not back into tower range again there. Monkey is far ahead from this early game now. He managed to get through his bot camps. Guon really tried to get into the enemy jungle, but Monkey is almost double the CS of Guon now. He's only just hit the level 4 as Monkey's hitting level 5. So he's a level up. This is why the Vi can be quite dangerous. You need to make sure that your early pathing is protected. And Guon's typically been very good at that, but it's not nearly been as easy versus Monkey, who is also one of our biggest early game junglers. Going to head onto the dragon. Oh, he's going to smite it. So yeah, he really does want this. He's out of vision unless he heads out into the river. The Phaelites might spot him here. Karras is going to head down. And they'll give up the ghost here. They'll, oh, they'll spot the Phaelites there now. Karis might have just given away the dragon start. There is a level 6 from Care. Guon is only level 4. So him doing okay. Q flash onto her. Not bad there. Shockwave lands onto him, though. First blood goes to the Seraphim, but the jungler goes down. Care trying to shut down the jungler. Now no smite is on the table. And NIP get the better end of the trade. Karis might have... Oh, he flashes forward and goes straight into the root. Trying to kill off. Assume can't quite get it. Draw still has the flash to get away. The Cloud Dragon's a bit scary. Good single target damage. And no one's taken the damage active yet. Goes to the Azir. Care secures the dragon because there's no smite on the table. NIP walk away with the extra kill, I believe, and then also the dragon. Gosh, that was a mess. Urha died first, Monkey died later. I think Karis heading down and giving up the play on the Phaelites led into this. Urha then tried to get some vision down. Didn't realize that NIP were on the roam so much. Guon manages to get a lot of value there. Care just free hitting though. And Monkey's been stuck on the dragon for too long. Of course, Urha here, one of the better players for WE, gets caught out right at the start. The early power of the Karma can't make any really big inroads in this fight. Getting the dragon after from NIP, that is a bonus. Care gets the double buffs. Nasty stuff. This Azir is off to a very good start. 1-0-1 despite the good shockwave from Karis. One thing you have to note, by the way, is Azir does actually get red buff on his soldiers' auto attacks because they apply on hits. So red buff does apply if you do get a random game and Azir gets a double buff. It feels really bad to play against. Like, really bad. Can't overlook WE. Of course, the first fight of the game not going well for them, but Monkey was doing very well against Guon until that point. NIP, of course, one of our more volatile teams. They've beaten some top teams. They have also lost to pretty much everyone in the League 2 at this point. They have the funny number as their series score, looking to go even if they win this one and end up, as we said, just shy of that top of the table by going 7-7. Monkey steals away a little bit of that. Again, quite far ahead. Go for now, sliding forwards. Shockwave is flashed away from by Draw, but Guon takes the damage, does have the ult. He might look for this. That's a good Ezreal ult, but they don't want to go any further than that. Very tense confrontations. A lot of it is around this jungle farm. A lot of it is about getting those inroads into the jungle. Trying to get a lead there. Oh yeah, 10 CS lead in top lane. More than that, actually, 15. Bot lane, 10 CS lead for Assume. Both AD carries with an assist. The Sivir will scale very well into the game. There's a lot of stuff the Sivir needs to be afraid of, though. The Renekton flank, the Azir shuffle. Quite hard to get the shuffle onto the Sivir. Of course, it's not quite bring your daughter to work day for Azir and Sivir. They're on the opposite side of this, actually. Sivir's gone to a, I don't know, rival company. I need to get Shreem and Fried Chicken Azir. The order is given. Based on McDonald's Azir or KFC Azir. Great. But yeah, I mean, the stuff like the Encore and the Vial are really scary for a bout. Because you have to play the Mind Games Spell Shield versus the Vi Ultimate. Because you have to time it right. Sometimes the Vi will smite just before she hits you. And you have to play some mind games of kind of like flashing further backwards or flashing further forwards. You can actually flash into the Vi ult sometimes as the Sivir to guarantee your spell shield will happen. So you spell shield and flash towards them, so the Vi mistimes her smite timing. Some weird mind games with that, like we said. Monkey, good early game from him in terms of the farming. First fight of the game didn't go so well. Even-ish now in terms of XP going towards these grubs. Still slightly ahead, but Guon has done a very good job of bailing himself out from that. We did say that, you know, the early game bloodiness between both these teams is partly because of these two. Monkey versus Guon. Gotta be one of my favorite jungle matchups, actually, here. They're both on form. Both very creative. First grub to the side of WE. WE kind of made their name last year through Monkey's creative, aggressive jungling. Of course, paired up with Vampire's quick pick, engage support style. Go on, heading over. Cares here too. Orianna's not roaming. Does end up smiting away the last grub. Does go on. So it's 2-1. Care going back over and sweeps him back. Doesn't quite work the way that they wanted to, but Vi's now into the play. And Monkey's going to go down. Care and Guon get on the board very nicely in that play. Monkey 0-2. Good farming, but just caught out a little too far from his laners. Karis wasn't roaming. Q wasn't either. Monkey quite disrespectful about where his laners are. Karis is roaming over now. There's good vision. Guon does have flash and a Q. Karis might actually... I wonder if he should actually like get that blast gun. Guon, good pathing out of there, though. Goes through Tri-Brush, takes a single tower shot, and he's out. All right, Guon. Good play from him. Does get the Gromp from that, too. Does manage to finish that camp.
a good amount of that was we need to support our mid laner because someone gave Azir double buffs. That's true. Giving Azir double buffs in early game is really annoying because he doesn't build any mana items nowadays. His mana sustain is a little bit more flimsy than some other mid lane. It's not that it's a huge issue, but if you give him blue buff, it means he can spam his Q a bit more and his soldiers. And the rub buff, as we said, does apply on his soldiers, which is quite a nice bit of extra DPS in the slow, meaning that you often get in an extra auto attack or two. Monkey pretty close to his first item completion. Guon should have that on the next recall as well. So for oh, he misses the wall with that sweep. That's annoying. So he's spotted on the Raptors. Slight gold lead to NIP from the early game. Nothing to write home about, but with such an aggressive team, if they get the gold, becomes quite a threat. Again, the Sivir and the Orianna really want to just scale up into the game. Not that the Azir doesn't, but they really want to make sure they have their items before committing a little bit too much. Dragon started now. NIP spawning for a fight. I think NIP realized that they're in a point of power here. Monkey's getting the red buff, but he doesn't have first item. He can't really fight Sundered Sky to no Sundered Sky. It's too dangerous there. Actually, Monkey was thinking about maybe heading over the wall there. Sees Guon take the dragon, take the Scuttle Crab as well. Really enjoying watching this contest between these two junglers. Yes, Monkey's coming off the worst end of it in terms of the kills, but at least the early pathing from him was very impactful. I just think that Guon and Kara have been way more coordinated than Karis and Monkey, who were the shining stars of WE throughout most of this year. Of course, losing Vampire to JDG. You know, for all of my reservations about Vampire and his strategic play of the game, mechanically in the way that he would just kind of flip the engages early game alongside Monkey, WE really used that very well. Used that very well for him. Of course, Vampire's gone on to be now one of our best supports within the region. Somewhere in the top 5, of course. We've got a couple of good supports on form. You know, Kyle's back in form, it feels like. On Mako. A couple of names which come to bear. Can't cancel that recall. Monkey has a Sundered Sky, so, you know, that item discrepancy has now been evened up in the jungle. For now, the big item completion is the important one, right? WE, of course, as we were saying, fighting for pride. Going to walk towards Hoya here. Gets a decent amount of damage. Going to get the knock-up. They're not taking tower aggro just yet, actually. Get the Dominus for free, take about a third of his HP, flash forward, Shockwave comes onto him, and that's going to be a kill onto Urha. Not bad there from Hoya. Urha takes aggro, and Hoya punishes well. Now, it's still going to be the 1-for-1. Urha used their heal there. Hoya will still lose a good amount of farm. About gets himself tower plates. Monkey gets the kill in mid lane. See that Assume doing quite well there. And, you know, we've talked about Urha being quite good for WE. Caught out a couple of times in this early game now, actually. NIP benefiting from that. However, you know, Karis and About get something from that play too. About has the gold lead over Assume. Assume and draw for NIP, for those of you who've not paid much attention to this split, we're actually one of our very best bot lanes across the average of this split. Now, as it comes through into, like, the later parts, this is our last week, I do think that Assume and draw have fallen off an amount. I don't think they've been as dominant in the 2v2 as we could see in this game, right? It wasn't like they were doing anything special in lane hit. But the Lucian Milio was their kind of iconic lane between the two of them. That's the one which they'd take against anyone. In fact, they did take it against anyone, and they very, very nearly beat everyone, actually. Beat BLG in one series. Ended up beating anyone's legend in the second one, although a lot of that was Guon versus Tarzan as the more important matchup there. LPL very much a jungler's league at the moment, it feels like. Besides, you know, Knight doing unfair things to most people in the league too. Gosh. I was tapping in on a conversation in on Twitter. Alec Battery started it, saying that, you know, Knight is the best player of the modern era. You know, some comments replying to him saying, well, you know, isn't he the best player in the LPL of all time? And I am one of those people that believes that. I do believe that Knight is the best LPL player of all time. However, you know, he's kind of like the exception to the rule right now that LPL is a jungler's game. Knight's the one person which kind of breaks, and even then, it's because Shun and Knight work very, very well together. When the bad things go badly for that team, they fall back on the mid-jungle combination. Very similar to WE, so we can bring that back round to more relevance here. WE, when things were going poor for them in various splits, particularly because Cube was really not doing well. I think About in split 1 was very poor. And I think that before Urha came in as well, they were struggling in the support department too. They would fall back on mid-jungle, where Karis would have a Kali or Azir or Ryze, and you try to hyper-carry games from that role. And Monkey, well, we've already talked about him and his early aggressiveness and how that works out for the game. Herald now started very even in gold. Cassante teleporting up to it. Renekton might stick around to take the turret on the other side of her, looking for that route. There's a teleport behind. That's a very good teleport actually angle from Hoya. Actually has to double flash away. That's going to be the Encore on top, but we said that the Sivir had a lot to be worried about. Yeah, she does. Doesn't get a single auto attack off in the fight. Cube will die too. Sivir does go down, of course, in the midst of that. Ends up being a clean fight from NIP. Herald goes to the side of WE, but the Sivir just could not play that fight. Great teleport. Great teleport. Forces WE into an unwinnable position. We're about flashes away from the engage to try and get away from the follow-up. One spell shield is not enough. That's what we're seeing here. The one spell shield is not enough. Cube dying in the front line too. Nasty stuff. Go back to the replay. Cube tries to use his roll shield to make the most of the situation. They just don't expect the Renekton to be there. Now, both bot laners flash. The Encore comes right after. Hoya goes straight into the play, and it's just unplayable. The Shockwave is not really in position. Monkey is on the Herald, so he's not there in the front line. And WE, despite the fact that they're actually quite good at finding early skirmishes, their objective play has not been good enough. Now, they walk up to Dragon fights, Herald fights, you name it, and they're just not in position. And right there, I feel like Monkey being on the Herald meant that W could not position as aggressively in the rest of that river. And I think there has to be an overall team understanding about that. Good spell shield, Herald sum it up. In case there was a confrontation, I'll charge into mid lane instead now. Dragon to the side of WE. Azir does get himself a lot of farm from top lane, though. He gets himself that top lane tower. So the Azir is really starting to scale. Care is scary. Care is very scary indeed. Blue buff taken there. Question in chat from Tornasco. Which LPL player do you think has had the highest peak? My pick is the Shy from World's winning season. I mean, the Shy in 2018, 2019 is definitely up there. Hang on, Monkey, onto Guon. We'll find him out. 2 levels down on Guon now, by the way, but Monkey still standing his ground. Urha's behind him. Draws behind the other one. Crescent Guard comes through. The Crescent Guard is very much helpful there, actually. Encore doesn't achieve very much. All out onto Draw. That's going to be the Cassante getting himself into melee range of a few people. Goes low now. Hoya into the play. And, well, Monkey doesn't have a Crescent Guard now. Needs to be a bit more afraid. It's going to end up being 1-for-1 with a couple of ultimates and summoners expended to get that. NIP go into the enemy jungle. Think they're safe with the jungle advantage. Go on, picked up a ton of XP over the last few minutes. They don't quite manage to see that one through. Good play from Monkey, realizing, yeah, I'm down in XP, but I can still make this play. Highest peak. I mean, the Shy at peak was something else. He was one of... Because particularly at that period of time, he could play tanks and carries as well as each other, which was not nearly as common back in the earlier days of League. Of course, Rookie is worth a consideration. Knight is worth consideration. It's a good double shockwave. Cancels out the Q. Flash away from the slice of Hoy so he doesn't get the dice. In fact, Karras can actually maybe even look for a kill. No, the Q comes back up for Guon. Good outplay there in the 1v3. If he died there, that would have been a free turret and Karras losing out on a bunch of farm. Kare's already getting scary enough, giving himself another tower. Would have been a real sticking point for him. As we said here, 2-level advantage, but I mean, Shinza's a pretty strong champion. Q came back onto him, tried to look for that fight, realizing, well, you know, we do have the XP advantage. We've got people running over. Cube's there first, though. The Encore doesn't do that much. Wouldn't have done damage to Monkey anyway. Monkey went to the corner of the red buff, knowing that the all-out was going to come through there. Also had to flash away from Hoya just after. Q lucky to survive. Draw, of course, doesn't share the same fate. 105 stream streak from Sully. Fantastic. Appreciate you having you around. It's a great stream streak. Thanks for sticking around so much. Gonna get rid of these adverts here. Turret is low. They really want to give Care the side lane gold. They really want to give it to him if they can do. Okay, okay. Here's the short list for people at the highest peak. You have Scout at certain points. Scout in 2023 was ridiculously good, but he didn't peak high enough. Oh gosh, that's a really large amount of damage from the shuffle. Uses the Proto Belt to close the gap even more. Care will get a kill and an assist, and he'll get himself the bot lane out of town. I think the game's now gone. Care is too fed. Karras dies. Outplayed one dive. Can't play another. Realistically, though, if you're looking at the highest peaks from everyone, you're looking at Knight, really, aren't you? You're looking at Knight. Bin, of course, is best player in the world for parts in this year. And in 2024, of course, Bin was very high up there too. Knight was beyond him, I think, on the whole. I think that Knight has deserved, you know, his moniker of best in the LPL. Xiao, who had some very high peaks cerebrally, but mechanically, I think probably not on the same kind of level. course, Uzi in terms of peak in 2018 and some points before that was very high too. So you're looking at a short list of like Rookie, the Shy, Knight, Uzi. And then there are a lot of like honorable mentions, but they're not highest peak. Although, like I said, people like Viper in 21 was really insanely good too. Thank you so much for the raid there, Kenran. How is LCK? We've had a long day here today. This is actually only the first game of our second series, because the first series we had 2 chrono breaks. We had 2 chrono breaks in game 3, which was determining 2nd and 4th seed in Group Nirvana. So you actually missed out on a ton of drama. Basically, a player D-seed, and we had to, while the fight was going on, so we had to remake twice effectively, or chrono break twice. We're now into this series. NIP, of course, a famous European organization from Counter-Strike and various other things too. Swedish organization, I believe. Against Team WE, one of the great old teams of the LPL. As you can see, they're 1-12, but they're a little better than that suggests. They're starting to rally a little bit now, of course, still behind against NIP. If you're not familiar with NIP, this split, they are one of our most aggressive, exciting teams within the LPL, and Guwon's one of the big reasons for that. Draws caught out, Monkey trying to go forwards, doesn't have the flash, but he has the Karma behind him to help enchant him into the play. Draw goes down, the Encore doesn't really lead to that much. Again, Care on the side, that is it, has so much damage, he needs to get involved in the play. Guwon into the backline with a shockwave is good, disengage. Care, how much can he do? Gets onto a bout, but I'm not sure that's quite enough. He's now in the middle of 3 people. The Azir must live. He is living for now, goes down finally to Monkey, who makes his way into the play. NIP lose the play. 3 for 2 overall. WE importantly get that shutdown onto the Azir. Care had been running this game before that. I think NIP kind of bought into a play before their Azir was in position. Well, that's something, all right. Hey, well, welcome in all the raiders there. And hey, how's it going? Gabriere, hope you're doing well. Is that Orianna? Yeah, Orianna made its way through the draft. Yep, Orianna made its way through the draft. These teams are okay letting it through, because typically WE will let Orianna through the bans because they play Akali into it, and Care on the other side is one of the few people that plays Azir to a high level in the LPL. So he's pretty happy taking that seed. This was a mess of a fight. A huge shockwave was very good at the disengage. That sweep very nearly got the clump, but was just a little too late into the play. They managed to scatter just before that came through. Hoya, no idea what happened to him at the end of this fight. Did end up dying. Took a flash monkey, that was it. I think that, look, Care felt like he had to do something there, but he was in too late. It was initially a pick on to draw. I mean, it was a really good fight from Assume. Assume has been one of the best AD carries within the LPL. He's now 3-0-4. About has been the rock for WE. The bot lane of About and Urha has been the best part of WE across their loss streak. Now that they're back into a little bit more threatening state, it's more about Monkey and Karis. About and Urha doing quite well before that, though. For the side of NIP, typically this team has come down to jungle and bot lane. I think bot lane has cooled off a little bit as the split has gone on. They were the team, the first one in the world, really playing the Lucian Milio. They've really made a lot of teams respect that pick from them. And they were battling out against BLG, against JDG. They beat JDG in lane, in fact. And they did very well versus most of the teams across the whole of things. I don't know why they're zooming in on Monkey. Is it because he's holding the spear weird? I think he's holding the spear weird for his home guard animation. I don't know why they're zoning in on him. Well, I suppose it's because he's had a big comeback too now. We've actually had a huge back and forth between these junglers, which are the other key points of these teams. Guwon is the heart and soul of NIP's aggressive creativity. Guwon fell behind earlier. 3 Qs in a row onto Urha. Great accuracy from soon. Almost lands onto Urha too. Monkey, though, was ahead in early game, invaded well, fell 2 levels behind, and now is 1,000 gold ahead and a level ahead. So, I don't know. Jungle has been a ping-pong. It's gone completely to both sides at different points in this game. Karis is now 3 items with the GA. Very important breakpoint for him. And this is going to be an exciting couple of fights. You know, can Care get his gold advantage to the right place? He has Protobelt and his Zhonya's. They're teleporting behind him. He has Flash. He has Teleport. Does he have Passive? He does. That's going to help him. Do they teleport in with anyone else? Ezreal could come in, but they're choosing not to use it right now. Protobelt away. That's actually pretty good. Flash under the turret. That's not bad from Care. Goes golden onto the Zhonya's. The tower's starting to do more damage. Does he have any more ability to disengage? Goes forwards again for the sweep. Very nearly kills Urha, but will die in the 1v3. Baron started on the other side. Teleport back up to there from the Cassandre. They're going to peel off of that, and Guwon goes in, Encore over it, and they're going to look for the fight to get themselves the objective. Flash away from Cube, Hoya goes down, Guwon goes down, NIP, I think they're falling apart across the map now. Care couldn't quite buy enough time in that 1v3 for NIP to get the Baron, and worse than that, NIP then lose the fight in even numbers on top side. Now Baron's going to get started by WE. NIP were in such control of this game. Like I said multiple times in this split, NIP are one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the LPL, but that doesn't mean they always win. They're entertaining to watch, win or lose. All right, here with the gold going in favor of WE from a great split map play from them. I think they are going to be losing this first game. They're even on Dragons. Gold's going to go into WE's favor. They're going to get to the ability to push in with this severe siege, shoving waves so quickly and starting to really cause some issues. Now the teleport comes in, and forgive me, it wasn't even the even number fight. I'm so sorry, it wasn't the even number fight. They just put up a great Crescent Guard and Cube gets out. This is a 3v4. It's not even numbers. Guwon misses the Q, can't even kill Cube. And he goes down with that missed skill shot. That is an incredible 3v4 outplay from WE. Cube is a player who's been heavily criticized by myself and by others. If you look at the start of this split, if you look at last year, look at split 1, I thought that Cube's time in the LPL was done. I didn't really think there was much reason to keep a guy around that was only playing tanks really and was having middling value on them. He has played so much better in the back half of this split. Monkey flashing forwards, Assume going low but not getting knocked up here. Trying to get that kill would potentially unlock a huge Baron power play for them. Flash for flash between jungler and AD carry. Monkey trying his luck there. WE trading turrets now because NIP have Azir in the top lane. He has a Nash's Tooth. That is very scary. And the sad thing for NIP is that they've really tried to give so many resources to Care, but they've not been able to get Care into the right position to make the most of it. Dragon down 20 seconds. Baron buff still on from WE. They're going to reset, get their items, get back out onto the map. There's a Shadow Flame on Karis, very near to a death cap. Has the Seekers in as well. 3 items on a Baron. Also has the anti-heal of the Executioner's Callings. That will help a little bit against the healing of Ezreal, and of course the Seraphine with that W. Speaking of that, Ezreal has 3 items. A Cyrilda's third will help him cut through the Cassante a bit more. They probably can front to back NIP a little bit more with that in mind, but they can't do that into the Crescent Guard. Dragon started. NIP, do they truly contest? Care would have to teleport in. No, they don't contest. Azir's not there early enough. Azir needs to be there and present. He is the only gold lead really on the team now. Does he teleport in? He'd have to recall. Orianna's not there either. You can see that both mid laners are being quite careful about where they stand. Orianna doesn't want to walk up any further in case the Azir comes towards him. It's quite threatening, actually, that Azir versus the Orianna when he's got this amount of gold. I knew it, this NIP are chokers. No, NIP are a very aggressive team, and sometimes the aggression comes back to bite them. They're aggressive, they are creative. Those are the 2 words I applied to them, and I think that they are very true in the way that they apply to them. They are inconsistent. I think every member of this team has their ups and downs. Care has streaked very hot in the past and very cold in the past. Assume and Draw were very good. They're the most consistent members of the team, I'd say. Guwon and Hoya also on the list of people I can flip very good and poorly. Should not be the one face checking there and will just about live. The Encore does come through, and now Guwon will take up that kill, but he's put himself in a bad position to get there. But Care finally gets himself an Emperor's Divide to die for in the team for, in this case, to murder for. Assume is still alive, and on the other side, Poor About has been put out to the wolves. WE have got themselves a bit more DPS, so it's just good all out from Cube to bring back the Renekton and ends up putting that fight into a 2-for-2. With the Sivir going down, I would have thought that WE would run out of DPS, but Monkey, his Crescent Guards have been great, and then Cube has been able to get himself out of fights very effectively. Even fights. This has not been a clean set of wins from either side on the team fights. I'm seeing a lot of comments about how NIP are bad. They suck. No, NIP are a very aggressive team that sometimes get punished for their aggression. Care jumped up very far, goes into the Zhonya's here as Guwon traded 1-for-1, ends up proto-belting to allow for the play here. And I believe that the spell shield from About was actually bought up by that proto-belt as well, which is actually a surprisingly good application of the item. Hoya goes very deep, tries to go into Monkey, can't quite do so, and then poor Hoya is kind of left out there himself. Now we're going to come back to live and see how the map setup's going. We're a little bit off of objectives. The last dragon was taken, of course, a minute or two ago. There's a death cap for Kara, still has the Seekers intact. Fourth item, we're still waiting on that from both our AD carries. Assume is building towards the double tier. We do see this from Ezreal's if it starts going late game now. If you get through to double tier, it is so impactful. I know that there was a game the other day between JDG and Weibo where people were arguing about scaling, and I think people need to update their opinions of Ezreal scaling now that his AP ratios have been increased so much and double tier is an option. It is so strong, double tier Ezreal, going into late game because of the AP ratios being increased across most of his abilities and the ability to build those double mana scaling items. GA finally in for Guon, by the way. 3k advantage for Monkey. Now, Guon has been incredibly potent for NIP across so much of this split, but you see what happens when Guon can't cleanly start the fight and can't cleanly get himself into the game. He was invaded very early, did a good job of getting 2 levels ahead in the mid game, but then things have still turned around to Monkey. Now, Guon is definitely the heart and soul of this team, but Monkey can be the same thing for WE. Very fun jungle matchup. That's my key matchup here today. I want to see more of these messy team fights. These have been fun. These have been very fun, messy team fights. Why the heck is this game close? Because WE are better than their scoreline suggests, NIP are inconsistent, and the junglers both kind of live and die for the rest. Well, the team live and die by their junglers. So when both of them have things like that, and they're both kind of throwing things to the winds, it's kind of crazy. Cat going forwards has pretty good ability to hit towers, goes back with that sweep over the wall. Endless Hunger in for Assume. That's one of the real key items for the Ezreal. And now he'll have himself a ton of healing to bring to bear. There's 4 items in for a bounce as well. Infinity Edge, Yuntal, Mortal Reminder, and the Flicker Blades as well. So both AD carries uptime is crazy. If either of them get time to free hit, they will win fights at this point. Good Shockwave can do it. Cube is kind of stuck out alone here. A little bit afraid for this Kasansei. So we said 4 item. Ezreal is scary as hell. Assume getting good damage there. Half a HP down. Monkey going forwards onto Guon. It's not bad. They're trying to burst out the engaged shore from NIP. Can they get his GA away? It's a bit of a long journey there. And now the Crescent Guard is timed out from Monkey, who goes down, who doesn't have the GA. They've gone too deep. The Shockwave is interrupted by the Blast Cone. Taken off target. And WE, I think they might have just fumbled this one. Assume jumping forwards, not landing the Q. Ezreal ult will go onto both. The Karma Shield will work out well. It's too far from Cube, and it's too far from Monkey. NIP very nearly got hit by that Shockwave, but the Blast Cone somewhat derailed that plan. WE can't get a clean fight around the Sivir, who's too far away from the clump, and NIP takes the scattered fight and win with it. It's going to be a dragon to them. No Ocean Soul for WE. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, it definitely feels now as though we're going to a very late game. 6 dragons now. No Elder in sight. No soul taken by either team. We're within 1,000 gold. Assume just jumping onto Cube. 4 items. Endless Hunger. Ton of ability to shred through him, of course, with the 4 items, as we were saying. Monkey got himself the Q knocker. Went on to Guon. It's not a bad idea. Guon had the GA, though, and Monkey didn't. Huge cooldown advantage on the items there. Guon manages to make his way out of that fight too. The fact that he gets through that without losing his GA is just something else. And then the Shockwave goes away. The Shockwave goes away. He might have been able to flash to confirm it. There's a lot of damage on that Orianna. If that hits, it is pretty much game over for the carries. Monkey does land the W there. Could go in with the Shockwave. The marker's timed out. You can see that they're kind of spoiling for it. There's the Shockwave. Doesn't quite work out, though. Shockwave is a whiff. Crescent Guard is helping. Guon has that GA still. Now Hoya is into the backline. Cupid is not nearly as tanky as he needs to be. And the Encore lands onto the ulting Sivir. She speeds away into the team. That charm leads them to a watery death at the hands of the Siren. The Encore hits the super speed Sivir, and they just Uber Eats the way into NIP. Baron will be their prize. Great flash ultimate from Draw, who's been picked up in a lot of these fights so far. That Seraphine ult, very, very funny. Top notch. Baron to the side of NIP. That Shockwave missing again, though. WE, their team fights have not been good enough. We'll watch this again because you can see that they're really trying to get this Shockwave in. Goes in, and then everyone gets away from it. The Shockwave is disengaged. The Crescent Guard comes after. It would have been a bit of anti-synergy anyway, I think. Hoya comes in, and Cube's not tanking. But then watch this. Spell Shield is blown. Super speed Sivir piles away into the team. Dead. Care almost gets the Shockwave to catch out the remaining members. Does get the one there, of course, onto Cassante. This is now a game-winning situation for NIP. It's not been clean at all. I think that Monkey has been largely the better jungle than Guwon in terms of his ability to impact fights. However, you can very much see that About is struggling to get any kind of kill participation. He's just too low range, and if he walks too far forwards, feels like he's in too much danger, really. Her caught out too many times looking for vision, looking for objective. I think on the whole, actually, About and have had a very good split between the two of them, given expectations. This one's not been a great series from either of them, though. A great game from either of them. They're only one game into it. And the Shockwaves just haven't hit. The Shockwaves have just not hit. The Orianna, which has been the queen of the mid lane meta over the history of League of Legends. Only really second to the king in the mid lane of Azir, really. And of course, that was with Orianna having a like a 4-year head start on him or so. Came out in what, 2011, 2012 did Orianna, right? But season 2. NIP keep that siege coming through. Minute and a half left of it, so that's about 3 waves, a little under that now. 4,000 gold up. WE, they have the damage for a team fight. Good enough Shockwave will do it. We haven't seen that Shockwave land. Of course, Seer, they're heading up towards 5 items. She'll have the damage so she can actually get in range. The Seraph is almost there from Assume, though. That Ezreal, like we said, is a hyperscaler now. With the double tier back, if you do actually reach it, I think Ezreal is a late game AD carry again in the way that he was. God, when was it? In like 2020, was it? The double tier meta? I think 2020 to 21, around that kind of time. Monkey should really be on a better team. The problem is, look at the junglers that he's competing with, you know? Look at the junglers in the LPL. Monkey is a good jungler, and I think he's very creative. I think he's got great early pathing and good aggressive vision for the game. But you're competing against people like Wei, Shun, Tarzan, Junja. And Guwon's a good player too, right? But then you've got Tien and Jie. Legitimately, where would you go in Ascend? It's really hard to see, right? It's very hard to open up a jungle slot on another team. This is with Kanavi even as well, right? Yeah, Kanavi is a player who obviously went over to LCK this split, but he's been running the LPL for many years now. Dragon in 30 seconds will be sold for either team, and like we said, W do actually have the damage to win a team fight. Got Ezreal out there. Ezreal will have himself the Seraphs before this fight. Of course, the upgrade of the item means the tier stacks quicker. See him looking for poke now. Yeah, not bad damage there. That's a single Q. Hoya pushing out that top lane. Not bad. Cube needs to be a little bit careful here. Again, don't want to give too much poke over to the Ezreal, and the 1 Q is fine. Beyond that, maybe a bit much. NIP playing things slow, playing around the base. They might get themselves an inhibitor before the dragon comes over, but if they lose the Ocean Soul, well, that's not going to be particularly nice for them. Teleport now coming in from the Renekton, who is over half rage. Where is that Shockwave? Q pressing that W. It's taken by the Azir. NIP take it with the Azir. How did that happen? Into the back line now. Ocean Soul claimed by WE. And Hoya is staying alive for quite a long time, but not quite long enough to make himself a real game-ending threat. NIP take it with the help of the mid laner of Care. 5,000 gold lead to them. Soul is theirs. Inhibitor and top lane is there. And WE, despite the fact that they had the setup advantage, they were on the objective first. They cannot get themselves into that Soul fight. They have to disengage so quickly. Teleport now away from that situation. You know, I see the Shockwave on cooldown. I didn't actually see where that Shockwave was used in the fight. I heard the sound wave. The sound effects of it. Of course, it didn't cause that much again, I don't think. Ezreal, as we said, has that full item of the Seraph. This is such a nasty game. He might even go for a Voltaic Cycler Sword, by the way. Just because it gives him the current health damage. And the lethality is not bad either, actually, on Ezreal for the Q spam. Could go for Edge of Night, I suppose. He's got Serpent's Fang. Right, there you go. Cool. Serpent's Fang. Oh, yeah, because it wouldn't be the Dirk into the Voltex. That's a Brutalizer item. Yeah, my bad. Anyway, Serpent's Fang is good versus the Karma. It's good versus the Orianna. Good versus the Cassante. Why not? It's a good cheap item last. Assume is now hyperscaled. This is an Ezreal that will win a game on his own if he's left to it. Although it's a full, almost full build. Sivir as well. 5 items deep. Scary old AD carry, that. So now the game slows down again. Elder now in 4 minutes. Baron in 30 seconds. Ezreal ultimate. Taken up with a spell shield of about that. Also has the Bloodthirster shield to keep him topped up. 100% crit here for the AD carry of WE. And a reminder, folks, that WE, they don't move their position with this series. However, it'll give them a good amount of confidence. And I have to say, WE facing up against LNG, that's a confirmed matchup. As much as I hate to say it, because, you know, I do like the players in LNG, I think they're very much underdogs against WE, who are a lot better than their standing would suggest. Baron now started from NIP, flashing forward. Monkey not quite able to get himself engaged he would like to have. Needs to get into the pit somehow, but he's getting damaged very heavily by Care, who goes into the backline and goes golden. Baron is down. No flash now on Care. It might have gone too deep. The Azir is down. Encore's not bad, but here comes Assume, and the Ezreal gets to start ripping through health bars. Her bop to the side. The shockwave finally lands, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. About is starting to get some damage down, but Assume will try to put to the end of that. The ricochets aren't bad, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Empower W will do it. Hoya will take down the City. NIP, after a scrappy 40-minute game, will seal out game one. WE, a valiant effort, particularly through Monkey's mid-game. Cannot find the team fights. The team fights are where it falls apart. They don't get the shockwaves. They don't get the ricochets. NIP find their targets better, and they'll be 1-0 up in the series. Bit of a mess, but NIP will take those. NIP, like we've seen, which have been up and down in terms of form over the years, been a mid-table team, been actually up there at the top of the table, dropped below that, and this roster didn't expect much from them. They very much overperformed. Let's hear those Gyos. People mentioning Yikes Belveth on G2. Yeah, he played that, what, in 23, right? When he was back with them on G2. In fact, yeah, because I remember Yike playing that stuff in 22 in ERLs, because I cast Yike before he came through to G2. We saw it from Kanavi versus T1. Of course, that was a play which, you know, you'd like to forget in that last game from JDG versus T1, the World's 23 semifinals. First skill shots of the game not going well for Draw and Assume. Miss out on that Q, get hit by a Frost Bomb as well. About Noha would like to retain as much HP as possible. You know, the Nami gives you some sustain. The wave over on their side. Now, Trundle's going top to bot. Kiana is also going top to bot, going Raptors, red Krugs. What will happen now, most likely, is Guon will then recall immediately, get a longsword, and go towards the bot side of the map. It's a Kiana special, where you want to get a longsword as early as possible into your clear, partly because your ratios are used so often, it really clears up your speed, but also because against a Trundle, you can't really afford to be unable to fight him for as long as possible. Having a longsword means you can sometimes tangle with the Trundle in ways which you would normally not allow. You know, he's going to be spotted on the top side of mid. That's not a good sign, actually, for Monkey. If he's fully spotted here, that's a big problem. He just heads away. Now, Care's going to miss the cannon minion from this. That's what's going to happen there. But Monkey doesn't get the kill. He's spotted. He's a known quantity. And because he wastes the time there by going through mid lane, it means that Guon, who had back for that longsword, now that delay in his clear is going to be evened out by that time spent in mid lane by Monkey. All of these things are mind games. But if you want to learn more and understand more about the game that we're playing in pro play right now, a lot of it is about early jungle pathing. Stuff like the Kiana, AD Assassins, you'll see it from Neferi sometimes too. Well, Zed when he was a jungler, he's kind of out of that role now, is about these early recalls for a longsword. Stuff like the Trundle, because he's so strong, will often just spend his time in your jungle, if you will, if he's allowed to. Against 3 pushing lanes, very hard to do that here. Guon's actually going to head down here. They don't spot him this time. Monkey heading towards this. Karras can go far close to the stun, and I think this time it's a dead snake. Made into a pair of beasts. Flashing over, though. Guon has to grab the blade. Won't be able to get it in time. The Monkey flashes forward for the kill. Guon wasn't there soon enough. Care goes down for first blood. The Water Blade, not enough to save them. And Monkey on the Trundle, we said he was one of the best in the LPL, gets first blood at the second time of trying in mid lane. Care blowing that flash as well. Not what you want to see. Guon almost made it there in time. Almost. Now, Monkey is down a bit of farm. Raptors have respawned for Guon. Krugs are still up for Monkey. He's giving up farm for the lane pressure. Or the kill pressure in mid lane. Karras also blew his flash too, of course. But a Care going down. It is an annoyance, isn't it? Bard's now out on the roam. Guon gets himself those Raptors very quickly. And yeah, if you want to understand modern League of Legends, you have to understand why junglers are doing what they're doing. Okay, now I'm worried about NIP's comp. Look, if the Annie gets into a good spot and the Gragas is also not getting blown out by the Jace, then WE have a really good set of team fighters. Because if you think about it this way, if you close your... Well, you don't have to close your eyes. But if you just think about, if you try and manifest what a WE1 team fight is, it is something like Trundle Pillar makes people play very defensive. And then the cask blows someone into your team. Annie Corki explode them. Now, as long as the solo lanes are in position to make that team fight disruption really, really nasty, WE have a good team fight. Now, the problem is WE have not been very good at setting up for team fights, and I think their solo laners have been inconsistent. Incube's been playing well recently. Karis has been playing okay recently too, although last game, the shockwaves were really quite poor from Karis. Hoya doing a good job there into Cube, actually. Of course, on the other side, NIP, they also have inconsistent solo laners. It's not like they don't have an upper ceiling. Might see a flash forward from Guon here, actually, into mid lane. Karis also has no flash. Trade coming through here. There's a stun from Karis. Erha is going to spot Guon here now, so he'll have to call off the play on mid lane. The wave is in a good spot for the Snake. He's actually a very far amount of CS ahead of Karis, who's down almost 20 CS in mid lane. Care got the MVP from game 1, was up, 1,000 odd gold onto Karis. I think, Care has been one of those mid laners who's firmly establishes himself as a mid-table mid laner within the LPL. Occasionally, he's been able to contest with the top players. I remember back in 2023, back when he was Milky Way's mid laner, had some good moments. His Ahri is one which I've always called out to be one of the best in the world. Occasionally he'll have a good game on a mage. Occasionally he'll have a good game where he'll make the difference against a top player. Not always, of course. I think that his cold streaks are more memorable than his hot ones, sadly. If he ramps up in time for playoffs, maybe NIP can be the dark horse I called them out to be a couple of weeks ago. Assume and Dwarf, of course, were a big part of the reason I said that a little earlier. God, Hoya is destroying Cube in terms of CS here, though. It's one of the other worries I had there, wasn't it? Not just Care doing well against Karis, who has done well there. It's a third plate coming through from Hoya. Care's not getting plates in mid lane. He's getting the CS, though. 800 gold lead to the Jace. Okay, now it's not optional that the Gragas bops back the Jace in a team fight with the ult. Jace is so strong into Gragas. The thing is, people are kind of taking the losing matchup just for the nature of later on into the game, the Gragas will just destroy the team fighting of the Jace. Where Jace tries to sit and be pretty, and then one cask hits him and his team fight's over. So you lose lane, but you hopefully have better use outside of it. Potentially against, triple, quite immobile carries. You get a good enough cask, you win the game off of that. Whether it's sending the Cassiopeia out of the fight with the Caitlyn and the Jace into the fight, that can be useful too. Ult's traded in mid lane. Karis, good backstep on that. Kar not taking that much damage, though, to be honest. Karis just has the cooldown boost. The Deathfire Touch helping a little bit more there. Almost kills off Tibbers there with the Twin Fangs. Slower game than the first one. 1 kill in the first 8 minutes. Most of the time, because of the nature of the strong laning and jungle pathing being so important, we do... Oh gosh, there's so much damage. Assume has the headshot on target. Assume has used a lot of his cooldowns about jumping forwards. Assume getting traded on very heavily here. Very close to killing the Corki on the other side. Barrier used by Assume about having the barrier still up and available. If he gets hit by a Q here, he could actually die. That's the barrier. Good reactions there. So Summoner for Summoner. Assume up in CS. NIP up 1,000 gold across the board. Most of that in top lane. But Assume doing his part to keep a CS advantage down there as well. He'll have to recall now. Bard not there to protect him, and there's no sustain. Does he... Oh gosh, losing that amount of farm for the turret. That's not great from Care. From Assume, rather. Thought he could maybe get that kill onto about, not quite. Her Monkey walking in now, knowing that the Caitlyn has recalled on the bot side. So hang on, there's a teleport coming in from the Cassiopeia, so she was likely going to teleport in here anyway. They're going to spot the teleport out now. That's going to be the Tempered Fate onto the Trundle. It's not a bad bubble, and Care starts to go low. Not low enough. That's an ultimate use as Grubs were taken by Kiana on the other side. There'll be 3 Grubs to the side of NIP. Monkey Not having to flash, but does pop that ultimate. Flashing as well, using that ultimate. Hoya ulted on the top side, but not to much avail here. Hoya still quite happily plugging away at this Gragas matchup, and Cube not enjoying it that much. Another plate taken by Hoya pretty much in the top side here too. Teleport up from that Gragas. Hoya now crests that 1,000 gold advantage in that top lane matchup. Catalyst and Tyrion from Care, so he's going to be laning very happily now with the extra HP and mana, despite there not being any AP in the build. Champions like the Cassiopeia care much less about that, really. Come forwards again. Boss Bomb not on target. One of the problems with the Caitlyn is lack of sustain with the champion. That's why actually the big boots, the Gluttonous Greaves, have been so important for a lot of these AD carries, because you can go towards the Legends Bloodlines, but that's been nerfed so much over time. The Gluttonous Greaves gives you a good amount of ability to get sustain without having to go towards something like a Bloodthirster. Karis dropping the ult on Care again. We'll start to throw those Twin Fangs into the Tibbers. Guon heading across mid. Decent farm advantage against Monkey, but Monkey had that kill on mid lane, so he's ended up getting a bit more from that. Going to steal away the Raptors. Guon not going to be contested by Monkey. He's on top side taking his Krugs. That is a very... Not Krugs, the Gromp. Very quick clear onto those Raptors. He's spotted recalling on a ward there. No one's going to stop that. Just means that they have full information of it. He's ulting the... Are you kidding me? He's ulting the Tibbers. That is something else. Now, the Tibbers is really annoying because you use it for wave clear and the Deathfire touch value. So Care commits his ultimate to say, no, be gone, bear. That's funny as heck. I didn't realize that the Tibbers was that valuable. Of course, the Tibbers had ended up regenning as Karis had called it back. Now, Tibbers is useful in the same way that, you know, a maiden is not in the same way that a maiden is useful, but you know, it's really nice as being a Deathfire touch delivery system. Now, back in 2023, when Tibbers had higher AP ratios on the burn, and the base damage of the burn around the Tibbers after it was cast was much higher, you'd see stuff like Malignance Liandry's coming out of, or like Liandry, actually at that point it was the mythic item era, but you'd have stuff like Liandry's on that champion, and then beyond that point you'd see just full burn, like Rylai's, I think it was Rylai's Liandry's that would just kind of burn you for forever. Nasty stuff it was. With the Deathfire touch, kind of gives back a lot of the damage which the anti-Tibbers had lost before that point. Stormrazor in from Assume, by the way. They're going to catch out Assume. Did they get the trap on target? They do. Good bubble, though. Q afterwards. Not bad damage traded back by Urhu. It's a good response by Urhu. This Nami's been pretty good so far. Good bubbles on target. Good response there. Monkey might find Guon. Goes invisible. Have to be a little careful here. Can E through him. E's into the wrong direction briefly. Goes invisible again. Almost there for the stun. Gets the ultimate on target, but he goes down first. Karis and Guon trading off hard. Guon goes down. Tara taken first in top lane. The Jace is a very scary champion up here now. The gold lead is the Jace for NIP. Dragon now not going to be contested. There's no smite here. Care walking down. Dragon evened up in this early game. Karis, very important kill there for him. Now, Annie, I feel like Annie is a much more snowbally champion than many people give it credit for. Now, Annie, especially with these cooldown boots, is going to have a lot of flashes. The upgraded Ionians, of course, giving you, well, the Ionians in general, giving you the extra summoner cooldown. Jump into the bot lane jungle. Draw finding out Monkey. Pillar was onto him. Trades back surprisingly well for a Bard. Bard with the Electrocute and the Auto's passive. They don't know that there's a ward behind that Dragon Pit, so Monkey does know he's in here. Goes forward, carries around the corner, another good stun onto him. Doesn't have the ultimate on target, and Urha's there too. Go on! This Kiana goes down to low HP. Very, very much kind of pushing their luck there. Once again, a Bard ult in range of the Caitlyn. Trap goes down, Miasma goes down. That is a good engage from Draw. About gets taken out. Good play from the Caitlyn Bard. Very scary kill combo. Even if you have a barrier in full HP, About uses the barrier, still dies. Monkey has to flash away. He was too low HP, he would have instantly died as well. If you're a glass cannon, you need to be ahead. If not, you're screwed. Now, the thing about Annie is that she's less of a glass cannon. It's just more of the fact that Her engage is really much more scary from... Actually, he steals the blue buff. That's so annoying. He steals the blue buff, puts the emote down. Hoya takes a blue buff for himself. And no, Hoya, a year ago, 2 years ago, was the kind of player who would play into carry matchups, fall behind, and then just never really set foot in the game again. But then, you know, sometimes, occasionally we see it last year, and then particularly in Split 1, as he joined NIP, leaving TT to find himself on this roster, he has become more of a laning specialist. It's no longer just about his Scion or his Poppy or his Gragas. Now he plays the Varus top lane. He plays the Vayne. He's playing the Jace. It's working better for him. Lands the Q a little bit. Gonna have to get rid of these adverts on screen right now. As Cap will escape the play. Here comes Guon, though, on the other side of it. Has the ultimate available. Monkey going lower, and I think he'll just die to the Cassiopeia. He's caught out alone. They call off the retreat. Guon does have the ultimate. Can he get against the tower? Yes, he can. That's not bad. The wall stun afterwards. Chua takes the kill, and it's well earned. The build your own wall stun combo works out very well. Delivered to him by the Supreme Display of Talent. Hoy's not going to get bopped away there. Get some decent damage back onto Cube. The Q is a bit short from him. Cube is now down 2,000 gold, and NIP, this is more what we expected from them. Aggressive early plays, some lane dominance coming out from various parts of the map against a team the caliber of W, and sadly for them, despite the fact that Monkey had himself an okay start, fight that first blood in mid lane, it's just not worked out in their favor, and he's not been able to get into enough lanes now to stop the bleeding. I think Cube is too far behind now. I think that Karis is now getting too far behind, with Care being a real threat. The upgraded Merc Treads means that Karis is unable to kind of burst him out by himself. There's a teleport coming in from that Cassiopeia. As we were saying, Hoya jumping onto Monkey, does have Flash and a Ghost Blade. In fact, Akbok gets himself a good amount of move speed with the Acceleration Gate and the form change too. Killer onto Care, but he doesn't care that much about it. Assume actually gets some headshots back onto him. Or rather, doesn't use the headshot, I don't believe, but he has the Storm Razor. Good damage. Teleport in from Jace. Had to blow that flash earlier. It's quite scary there. Gonna take down mid lane turret. Might trade the mid lane for the Herald. I think they can actually just contest on both sides, though. Care getting the miasma down. It's not bad, actually, from the Cassiopeia in terms of damage. Also tanks up a decent amount with the upgraded Merc Treads. Herald going down lower. Bubble, Tidal Wave. That's a good stun there, actually, from the Bard. Not sure exactly how that hit. Seem landing that Q on target. The Herald is actually not even taken by WE. They have to go away from it. The Shock Blast does good damage, and WE call the full retreat. They don't get the objective. In fact, they're lucky to not even lose a member. Well, he might be that member who's taken out now. Guon will chase himself over to that side of the wall. He'll get himself another W to hop over. He's just there being served up on a platter. Q stun lands. Guon can hop over the wall, and will go down on the other side. Kill over towards him, and the first strike proc will definitely be a nice cherry on top as well. The Propane Hydra serving up some hydrocarbons to burn that fish to a crisp. Hey, Angie, how's it going? Yeah, first series of the day was really long. Barrier used by Assume to protect his recall gets that off. We've seen that a lot more since Barrier has become, you know, a very low cooldown summoner, but it's been definitely used a lot more rigorously. Now, this is a story I used to tell a little while ago, but back in like 2015, that was when LPL bot lane started to really start experimenting with using summoners very liberally. Now, if you played in Season 2, 3, 4, using a summoner in lane used to feel like the worst thing ever, having to blow flash, blow heal, something like that. Hoya doesn't actually have that flash right now. Uses the Q to get to the Raptors. He might make it out because of that, actually. Does he have an acceleration gate? Doesn't need it, actually. Well played by him. The Dragon taken by Guon on the other side. But yeah, liberal use of summoners was really pioneered by LPL to get pressure rather than just the kill. Because sometimes you say, oh, using that flash is the biggest thing I can care. It's going to put down the miasma potentially. In fact, that teleport was cancelled. Cube ends up getting cancelled with his teleport. They have that full Herald charge. This is going to the inhibitor turret. We're only 18 minutes in. This could actually be an inhibitor turret taken. He's going to charge it around, go towards the inner turret in mid lane. He's going to get bubbled. Go on, my dude. That's just not it. Might die for it, but he's going to take one on the way out. Call me a liar. Gets out scot-free. Has 200 HP, but that is way more than he needs. Kills about. Go on, my son. That's a hell of a play. Takes it on the long trip. Thought, oh, they'll just go for the inhib turret. But no, he goes towards the inner turret. They take the full one there, take a bout down with them. Dies as well. That is a great creative play by Guon. Did not expect that at all. Look into this replay again. You think, oh, well, maybe they just can't take plates on bot side. No, he takes the long trip round. Takes a turret top shot with 2 there. Almost gets the knock-up. It's a great bubble from Erho. Does get the full CC. They very nearly kill him. And then sadly, they can't quite get it. The damage isn't there. I think this is the right thing to do. You would have expected them to be able to get that kill. About just not quite enough damage, though. Calculation's not there. And now 8,000 gold down before 20 minutes. NIP, I think they had the belt taken to them after game 1 and how scrappy that was. Guwon has been on a tear on the Kiana, despite that 1 death early on to Karis. Kerr has been incredibly good form in this game too, again, despite his first death in lane 2. Drop, very impactful Bard performance, had good ultimates. Assume a couple of trades went against him earlier on, but he's up 1.6k, and Hoyos has been left on an island to get a 2,000 advantage himself. NIP just winning out individually across the map. Karis maybe can throw himself out a flash stun. Not there, though. What do you even do if you're WE? Who do you replace when you're top to mid? Well, the thing is, actually, their mid jungle has been good before. Bot lane has been okay during this split. It's difficult, right? No, making changes mid-split, especially if you don't have that many results, can be quite difficult. It's a hard question to answer, though, for sure. They'll have to wait for the Knights rivals for... Oh, man, Kiana, when she's ahead, clears through jungle so quickly, doesn't she? I remember Guwon subbing in for Ona. Yeah, he was a T1 Academy player, right? In 2024, I believe it was. Of course, last year, Guwon was poor in the LCP, which is why when he was picked up for NIP, I was wondering what this team was going to be like. But credit to the NIP managers. Hang on, potential flank from Hoya. The Valkyries used. Guwon going towards It's pretty much a one-shot, but it's only the support, and About turns it around. Now, Kerr gets to go into DPS range, and About is not winning that DPS check. It's a pretty even fight across it as the Caitlyn goes down. How do you kill the snake, though? Kerr just keeps going forwards, and he has more damage to bear. It's a 3-for-3. It's a bloodbath. Karis alive. Monkey alive, though. Can they do anything with that? No, not really. It's not like the dragon's really available. Kerr, scary snake. Jumps into the play. Doesn't even have the Rod of Ages fully stacked up yet. Karis, he gets hit by a cube. Might be on death's door himself. Malignance after the Malignance proto belt from Karis ends up helping take down Assume. The Caitlyn not a happy AD carry in that fight, as everything was kind of thrown onto them. We're watching the replay once more. Assume was on his own. Pillar into him. Well, yes, they have to disengage. Cube, good play from him. Bops back the AD carry into melee ranger Monkey. Gets the kill there. On the other side, though, both junglers head there towards the enemy bot lane. Sadly for Guwon, couldn't catch About cleanly in that combo. If he did, I think this fight is pretty much over. Considering that it's an even fight, it is better for WE. They get themselves an even fight. They get some shutdowns in there, I believe. Gold is still nasty. It's less than 8k, though. It's, 7.5. Could be worse, I suppose. Almost in for the Infinity Edge for Assume. Has Storm Razor and the Rapid Fire Cannon. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Guwon on the flank. Has a Serpent's Fang in the Axiom arc, which means that his ultimate is a much lower cooldown. He gets involved in kills afterwards. In fact, if you get all 5 kills, he comes straight back up, in fact. Guwon still off for Vision. If you get onto Karis, he might go towards it right now. No, he's getting away from Vision. They don't spot him. Manages to maintain his anonymity a little bit longer. No ward put down on that brush. Dragon going lower. Guwon does have flash, and he can use that. Get into good position. Does he hop over the Dragon Pit? We shall see. Spotted now. Jace looking for that tower topside. Sure, not in a great spot here. Cube can get that cast back, and indeed he does so. Kill for free. No contest from NIP. Inhib tower getting hit now by Hoya. And he'll take most of that down, but not the full turret. So it's Dragon and kill for just that one turret. Tidal Wave. Not going to catch out Guwon. Prospective there. Not the biggest cooldown blown. Would have been nice if it had hit. It doesn't, though. They don't lose anything for it. Assume caught out in the mid lane. Doesn't have flash. He's way too far up. He'll go down to About. Just gets run at. They don't even need to use the Trundle Pillar. Assume goes down in a very easy kill. NIP, we said that well. The belt was taken to them. Wasn't the best play. Cat starting to get some good damage down. Monkey half the HP taken away by the Cassiopeia. And as you were saying, hasn't actually completed that Rod of Ages yet. About to get through to that now. Should be coming through in the next few seconds. There you go, level 15. That'll be another level into the W, the last maxed ability of the Cassiopeia. We underestimate the power of the throw. Hey, NIP. NIP are one of our teams that throws a little less? Question mark. I mean, they throw less than like a BLG, even with a crazy gold lead. I mean, they do that last this split, right? But teams like IG or Weibo, I'd probably put them a little bit more there. The problem with NIP I normally find is their ability to get those leads consistently. They look for them, don't always get it. Now, this Cassiopeia is really fed and has a blue buff. They can DPS it. Oh my god, they don't see it. No, you're against the Cassiopeia, NIP. You're against the Cassiopeia. You need to be aware of the DPS. They're not going to get there in time. Assume can hit it over the wall as well. They'll realize it's too late. The Baron's going to be gone. They did get themselves killing the dragon beforehand. They'll see this though. The Bardock will stop the tower going down for a second more. It won't stop the full push on it, just delay them a little bit. NIP walk away with the Baron, and they are so happy with that. Kerry even gets himself a blood letters for a bit more HP in the magic resist shred. NIP, I mean, the gold power play is going to be negative for now because they give up both mid and bot lane outer turrets. But NIP, they can start trying to break the base with this. If they break that base, WE are not feeling very happy at all. We'll take Cyclosword alongside the Muramana and Ghostblade for Hoya. Means that his poke and that siege as they go towards that base breaking is going to be even more potent as well. Assume has himself his Infinity Edge, the core item of any good Caitlyn. About on 3 items himself, the Collector third. Now, what do NIP do? They kind of need to stop grouping up and looking for siege. They're a little bit afraid of the cask when they go for that. They're not really grouping up for anything right now. Monkey actually looking at a pillar onto Guon. Won't do so now. Teleport behind them. And I think NIP have been a bit lazy with the way that they've approached the map here. Here comes Cube onto Hoya. He get himself a flash play. Yes, he can. Hoya needs to be so safe here. Protobelt forwards. Does he have enough to escape this? Jumps forwards again. Flash away. And the cask isn't good enough. Now here comes Draw. Good ult onto the Grag. It's flash forwards from the Trundle, and here comes Guon. Can he get the ultimate? He gets 2. Only the 1 in the ultimate. Not good enough for God. He's going to go down 2. Disaster for Guon. He should have had the kill combo. Instead, finds himself in the grave. Baron power play is now into almost minus 3,000, and WE might bring us to a game 3. Disaster for NIP. What a throw. We thought that maybe Hoya took too long to die. Maybe the turnaround could come through, but now Guon throwing himself into the phrase. Really got a lot to answer for there. I think this might be the game. Assume needs to be so careful. Karis was looking for the stun. It's just now the Caitlyn against the world. That's it. That's going to be the game. Assume can't do it by himself. 1 kill in. Tower goes down. WE have done it. They've turned it around. NIP will force us to a game 3 from a horrid play from Guon. Nexus will form. Game 3. A deciding match between WE and NIP. Well, that's your throw. We're just like, oh. Okay, let's get ourselves into the Rift. Last game of the day. Okay, oh my god, are we really level 1 fighting? Don't walk into a Scion stun. Don't walk into a Scion Q. Pantheon gets hit. Gold card to disengage will help out a little. The Neferi was walking around the corner. Hang on, doesn't this really help the Neferi? Because now suddenly Hoya can just... Wait, what is he doing? He's going to flash for a Q. And what this means is that Monkey can't contest the level 1 camp. He's okay blowing the flash. He'll teleport topside, because now that means Guon gets a free camp skill. They're going to heal to try and get in range for the W. Assume and Draw trying to get control over this bot side. TF is still around in bot, but now Neferi gets to go level 2 onto red buff. Pantheon will have level 2, but he's only going to be half HP. Just go and hop over the wall. He does, and he still has smite. He still has smite. It's going to go pretty low. The empowered Q might just about kill it here. There you go. He steals away Krugs. Oh, what does Monkey do now? What does Monkey do now? He's not going to get level 2. Guon has the E and he has the Q. If he gets a Q on target, it's a bit scary here, actually. Doesn't, though. Misses everything. Red buff's still around. Monkey knows he has smite and that Guon doesn't, but Guon just has to wait around now. Monkey, you see, started with the E. Flashing forwards, Q on target. Second one will kill. He gets first blood. Double daggers on target. Q-on has been gifted such a great start. Hoya getting that first Q, flashing for the second one, means that Monkey is completely locked out of the jungle. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone else, if you want to understand LPL right now, you have to understand how junglers get ahead of the game. NIP, use the Scion and say, look, top lane's not an important matchup. It'll be a wet noodle fight. If we send the Scion down level 1, then we can get an advantage for the jungler. Anyone's Legend have started doing that, sending their jungler, their top laner down at the early levels. They've been rewarded handsomely in many games for it, and right here we see it again in NIPWE. The LPL is such a jungle-centric region, and we are the best region in the world right now, so you have to learn from that. He doesn't even, oh my god, he doesn't even have the empowered Q. He might have to smite for his wolves. Go on. Does he even deny him the level 2? It's getting so close, he has to slide that away. Loses the 2 small wolves, though. Q-on is having an insane early level clear through the jungle. He's trying to go towards his own camps. Can't even really get much of that. Monkey is not even going to be able to walk over to the enemy side of the rift. Gu-on might even walk down to defend that. Care just wants to make sure that Monkey doesn't get a freebie. Takes down another bit of his HP. And Monkey gets the bot scuttle, but he can't walk into bot jungle. What Monkey wanted to do was take away enemy blue buff or enemy Gromp. He's not going to be allowed to do that. Gu-on will be able to clear through Gromp and then very likely contest his bot side camps. Monkey might get one of those camps, but even then, it wouldn't surprise me if Joe and Assume could go up and contest it. You see it right here. Monkey doesn't feel confident going towards the bot side camp steals. Monkey, he doesn't know what to do. He's going to go towards his Raptor respawn, but he's been utterly kept out of the jungle. Guan can now go towards top scuttle or his own topside camps. He is very, very happy here. Does he flash for it? He was actually thinking about flashing for that rune prison there. Pantheon will get himself onto his Raptors, but he is not in a happy state at all, chat. Let me tell you that. Monkey doesn't have flash, does have level 3 finally. About jumping forwards, getting some auto attacks down. It's a good little answer though. That'll help. It's no mana from draw. Monkey left wanting again. It's not really his fault. Bad level 1 team plan, really. Oh my gosh, Monkey, he's been cut out of the jungle, hasn't he? After that, game 1 as well was so good for Monkey in terms of his farming. We've seen this from Junja versus Tarzan. We've seen it from Shun versus a lot of players too. In fact, actually, Shun is the only jungler in the LPL, I think, that can shrug off a kind of start like this and still be able to come back into a game. And that's partly because his solo lane is some of the very best to have ever done it. Hoya walking up for the grass proc there, giving him minion to do so. And it doesn't matter that Cube has a 10 CS lead. It just doesn't matter. Hoya made the difference already. He walked down, gave his jungle a level 1 lead, and that's been enough. Hoya just needs to sit here and be a Scion in the end game. In the late game. Assume is pretty happy with his bot lane laning phase 2, but really it's about Gyorn getting so far ahead. Monkey now doesn't have an option to go interact with these lanes. Typically with a Pantheon, especially with a triple global comp, reminder folks, they're trying to play around Shen, Pantheon, Twisted Fate. Monkey is going to be very late to his level 6. He's not going to be very powerful when he pulls it either. There's a chance that Monkey, tries to get in with his ultimate, can't get much done. He's putting some wards out on top side, but you'll see that all the camps are gone. Gyorn has got so much of an advantage. He's got double the CS of Monkey. Only that 1 level up, but the gold is very much in his favor. A flash away from Cube, was afraid of that full channel Q landing, actually, especially into the Scion ult after. That could have been a kill. Gyorn now starting Dragon. None of his camps are up, so he's free to do this, not losing out on any farming time. Hey, Magical, great to see you. How do you win? You break the enemy nexus, which you'll see if you look at the little map in the bottom right hand side. They're in the bottom left and the top right corner. That's each person's nexus individually, each team's nexus. So Guon's going towards the Voltaic. He's got that Brutalizer first, very strong first item. Karis might load up the gold card. Ken needs to be a little careful here. Takes a turret shot. But while all this is happening, just Monkey's got nothing to do. What does Monkey do? He's going to lose his Raptor respawn here even. Grubs, not the Grubs. Grubs are spawning soon, though. There's the thing, though. In the next 2 minutes. Scuttle Grub will be taken by Monkey, but what does he do? Jumping forwards is about, but the Cog Lulu actually fire back even harder. That's almost a kill. And they've got the Realm War coming down as well. Guon has that flash. You can go for the ultimate too. I think they've bitten off way more than they can chew. Where is that ultimate? Left alone under the turret. About does have that barrier. He's gonna die here. They can take the aggro with the Neferi, reset it if they want. In fact, it's the Rise which takes it. Guon takes the kill though, and he's more than happy with that. Flash down from about. Kill onto Guon gets the kill. He's 1,000 gold up, and on this back, he's going to be almost completing his Voltaic very early on into the game. An incredible team plan from NIP. Now, if you're playing jungle, a lot of the time you'll get blamed for moments like these. I want people to be very aware of the fact that this is not Monkey's fault. Not really. A little bit of it is. A decent amount, but it's not entirely his fault. Hoya roaming down, getting the early pressure makes the difference. Guon has been, helped out by his team, giving him that advantage. Jungling is a team game. It is a team sport. If you want to get ahead in Pro League of Legends right now, you best have a good plan for how your junglers are going to work too. Now, Monkey's going to go through his bot camps, but Guon's going to steal away another Wolf camp. Assuming that's switched around the map because Hoya can go down bot side and pick up that one wave there. Who is in the lead? Oh, it's absolutely NIP in the lead. NIP are so far ahead because Pantheon strategically in this game is just not where he needs to be. He does have the level 6 now. He has the global. But what do you do with... a team that's so far behind with this jungler so far behind? Your options for casting that ultimate are very limited now. Grubs are going to start up, and now the problem is, because NIP is so powerful so early, they can force groups very early into the game, and it means that the globals, which are meant to create numbers advantages, are instead just engaging onto an entrenched foe that can just bring even numbers to the play. Grubs are going to go down to NIP. There's no real trade back on there. Kaz doing fine against Karis as well, keeping him from pushing up, stopping that Twisted Fate from roaming out to the play. One of the big problems that W are going to face as well is the fact that the Neferi is the one that's ahead, and she can press W and go untargetable against a lot of the engage which they'd like to have from both the Pantheon and the Twisted Fate. Another plate goes down in top side. Assuming draw. Of course, one of our best bot lanes across this split. Spirit's Refuge just used some cube as well. Guon could actually threaten a kill there. He's very strong from cube, just using that W. Very impactful. Q actually gets a ton of HP onto Milio. Yep, that'll work. Might jump onto cube here. When's his Spirit Refuge coming back up? Polymorph coming through. Takes a bit of damage, but not a huge amount. Pantheon goes back to base. He's only got himself the components of the Sundered Sky at 9 minutes in. I mean, I know that he normally completes at about 11 minutes or so, but he's so far behind, I just want to say. He's jumping into mid lane now. Maybe wants to getting on towards Care, but he's out of range. Oh, that is such a stinger for Monkey. He doesn't even need to flash away. No, Karis can't get in range for the gold card. Care backs off. And the first ult of the game with the Pantheon was already going to be hard to land, but that one stings. That one really stings to him, chat. Assume spotting out that bot lane gank as well with the Bioarcane Barrage. Karis couldn't get that gold card. That was a nasty moment for him. Now Care can actually run at him. Where's the next gold card? Needs to be up now. Good damage, and suddenly he's just out of lane. Now Care has actually had a pretty good series. I mean, besides that last play on the Cassiopeia last game, which was very much not great for him. About trying to get that last double tap, can't quite get it. Now the thing is, if the Lucian Milio can't get a lead now versus the Kog'Maw Lulu, they are unlikely to outvalue them throughout the game. They might be able to jump forwards and get a good culling down in the mid game once they hit 1 item and 2 items. But the Kog'Maw Lulu, for those of you that weren't watching in 2015, which is a long time ago now, and I'm aware that a lot of people wouldn't have been around at that point, the Cog Lulu used to be a composition known as the Juggermaw, because the Lulu allows... Hang on, they're going to jump onto Karis maybe here. Going to take the plate there. Go on, just fishing for a Q. Let's get it there. Can use the W to ignore the tower shot. Doesn't choose to, actually. But yeah, this used to be known as the Juggernaut. And why it was known as that is because the Cogmore, with all of the shields from the Lulu, can be a frontline player. He can walk up with the extended range and just say, I'm going to be the one auto-attacking you. No one stood in front of me. I am both a tank and a carry. And he's so buffed up by the Lulu that it becomes almost impossible to withstand that damage. It was made famous by the Rox Tigers, or the Ku Tigers, as they were before that, or GE or Huya Tigers. Anyway, they were called the Tigers. And they were the greatest rivals of the era to Faker and SK Telecom T1. In fact, they were one of the greatest teams in the world at that time. They were perhaps the greatest team to never win Worlds in 2015 and 2016. They're up there anyway. One of the greatest teams of all time. If you ever have a chance, go look up some of those games they used to play. And a wonderful time to watch League of Legends it was. Prey and Gorilla with their bot lane. They made that famous. Dragon taken by Guon. Monkey is actually getting some farm back now, but he's still down 1,000 gold. He's very late on his Sundered Sky completion. Did get Krugs and the Raptors there, so he's getting something out of the top jungle. Still down 20 CS, and Guon's still very, very scary compared to him. Voltaic Cycle Sword is already a very strong item, and he's well beyond that, isn't he? Cube looking to get a good play here. He's got the Titanic Hydra will build up towards the Dusk and Dawn. What that means is he'll have a lot of damage. You can see, actually, Shen does a lot of damage. Surprisingly so, right? I closed the stream because I thought the series would be over. I know, right? Hang on, TF is pulling the ultimate. Going to go into this play here. Does he have gold card load up? No, it's a red card. That's not very helpful, Karis. Not that it really changes anything there. Karis, look, the red card doesn't change anything. You can meme him for it, but it doesn't change anything there. They've already gotten out. It's ult for ult. The problem is that it is the ult for ult, and Shen actually used his ult on someone too. It was cancelled out by Hoya. I actually missed when that was used, my bad. So now that's actually all 3 globals down. NIP survived the global onslaught. That's the hardest thing to do in this kind of team. During the Ardent Sensor meta, yeah, Cogmore was around during them, but he actually fell off a little bit during the Ardent Sensor meta in 2017. It was a little bit more about Varus, really, at that point. Bit of Tristana Varus, about trying to jump over the wall, potentially. Sion now used to ult back to lane, just proxying with Shen. Was seeing if Shen was recalling that bush in top lane, isn't able to do so. Realm Warp not available from Cat. They might just go bot lane anyway, though. They have the mid lane shove. Oh, they're not ready for this. Oh, this is going to be such a deadly dive. They are going to die on this dive if it comes to it. I just don't think they have the ability to survive the Neferi. They can reset the aggro. There you go. Where's the W? He'll need it. There you go. Extra kill to the Cogmore. Double kill. And it's just not enough safety from WE. They thought they were safe because all the globals were down from NIP as well, because the Realm Warp was used earlier. Yeah, well, turns out the pushing lanes can kind of do that for you. Globals make it easier. They don't make it, not having a global doesn't make roaming impossible. Of course it doesn't. Care, a great game from him so far. He's been commanding mid lane. And he's allowed Guon some extra ability to go forwards into the enemy jungle. Guon has been the main character of this game, but the supporting cast has been excellent from the ninjas. And I know that this is, after Guon had a very poor end to that last game. That's just what you kind of buy into, really, with this. Hang on, potentially jump forwards from Monkey. He has the flash. He'll get onto him. All right, Monkey gets into the game. They kill the Cogmore. They don't spot the Pantheon very well. Good stuff from the Pantheon. Ignite put down onto Care here. I think he actually wins the trade, though, pretty heavily. Karis puts the gold card down, but Care, once again, as we were saying, kind of commanding this lane. Okay, good kill onto the Cogmore. They didn't spot out where the Pantheon was. Assume has a very dagger-heavy build. He really just he said, "I am the Silent" from Slay the Spire, didn't he? He's just got the Shiv build from Silent. Oh yeah, sure. I'll take it. I'll take a Cloak of Daggers. Oh sure, I'll take it. I'll take it prepared. I'll take it. Oh god. No, that's Maginal. No, it's not that. That is actually... okay, there's context on that, but that's not what it is. Assume getting a really good trade here onto About. Very nearly killing with the ult, flashing forwards. Here comes the TF, though, and the global start flying. They've misjudged it once again. And the Cogmore goes down.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
So Cogmore died a couple of times on the trot now. NIP do get that top lane turret. The globals, like we said, used in that position before. And that Cogmore can't really afford to be dying like that. Has the Rage Blade and all these daggers, as we've been saying. Jumping forwards again is Assume. Using the whimsy of the Lulu to really get that damage down. Close to what would very likely be the Hurricane second. Now, not Rise builds. The Cogwheel builds have changed quite a lot over time. We've seen Dusk and Dawn quite a lot. This won't be a Dusk and Dawn game here. It's going to go for real attack speed stacking. We used to see Blade first, Wits End first at points on base on different pits of strength. Rage Blade first, though, with the on-hit from the on-hit from just his W is enough. Herald Summon mid will kill that turret. Taken down very easily here. Another couple of plates. NIP still in control. And now they know, of course, that it's only the Shen ultimate available. Monkey's ultimate not available yet. Carousel coming up in 10 seconds. Coming out of base with the Shiv. The Sheen item completed. The Lich Bane. Happy with that. Dragon going to be secured by NIP, though. And despite the fact that W have killed Assume twice, it hasn't really led to a strategic advantage. Karis could pull the ultimate. Where are they going to go with that? He's going to go straight into the fight. He's just immediately slowed. And that's a really good response from Hoya. Flies into the play like the train you didn't expect. Assume goes down. Shen's into the play too. Here comes Guon. Can he do enough? He needs to flash over and get that reset on the altar. He'll do just that. AD carry down on one side. About is alive on the other. Guon already used that reset. Hoya flashing forwards for a Q. Gets a triple knockup. That Scion is out for blood and he'll find plenty of it. 5 kills for 2. Quadra kill for Guon. But Hoya is the hero of the fight. The train arrived just on time. That was an insane Scion Q. Wonderful team fight. The team fights in this series have been messy, but they've been fun as heck. The Karis tried to get the gold card. It goes on to go and he just presses W, and then just Go and gets to fire off onto everyone. The Shen ult went onto the Pantheon to try and save him. The fight does get quite split. Care not in position really does hurt them for a little while. Flashes doesn't really get involved in the play that well. Care, if he'd been a little bit more in position, might have even saved the extra kills going over. But W, you can just see the problem is, the globals are meant to make you an uneven fight. When everyone's coming to the same fight anyway, the other team haven't got that power budget and their champions invested into something like a global. They just are stronger champions when they're already out the play. How old is Assume? I can definitely look that one up for you. Been playing for a couple of years, but that doesn't always have to signal anything about their age. Jump forwards in mid lane. Assume's dead again. Assume's dead again. He's died quite a lot, actually picked up quite a lot. I do think that NIP need to be working a lot harder to protect their cog more. Draw shields up. It's a fourth kill onto Assume. He's still ahead in gold, but he's not very safe. And he's gone for the Flicker Blades, by the way. I saw so many daggers, I thought he might go towards the Hurricane. He's chosen to go towards the Flicker Blades instead. It means his W uptime is very, very high. Assume is 22. He's 22. But he has been playing pro since 2020 when he was playing in like Suning Academy, or its S team basically. He was on LGD for a bit. I started casting him a lot more when he was on Rare Atom. He was there with Cube actually. Assume and Cube were on the same team of Rare Atom back in 23. They weren't bad actually for a little while. They started off very strong in spring 23, fell off as the year went on. Second, wow. Goodbye. Goodbye. Holy moly. Okay, well, that guy's dead. Right. Well, they didn't even have time to pull a Shen ult. He just died. And now suddenly they're going to go towards the Baron. Urha dying, an unexpected play around Vision, is going to lead to absolute hell for WE. They can bring in the teleport from the Shen. NIP can look for the turn, though. What do they do? Monkey does have flash, can maybe look for the steal. It's going down very, very quick. Can Monkey get the Baron steal? He needs to get into the play. He's getting close. Going down, lower and lower. Who does this might go to? It goes to NIP. They secure it. Flash in, death. WE will fall apart. It's almost everyone dead across the board. NIP secure the Baron. And WE can't land that mark on the smite or on the fight. NIP have been destroying WE across the fights in this game. Guon with 9-0, 3 items, the Endless Hunger giving him so much healing alongside that Q2 as well. Urha is not very happy there at all. NIP will immediately march in. They don't have to reset at all. Going towards that mid turret, break open the base.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
How did W end up with this draft? They really wanted the globals. But the thing is, this draft looks a lot better if you don't get Monkey behind like 1 million gold at the start of the game. Like, if you don't have that horrible level 1, you see something more about the composition. I think a lot of people blame composition. I'm not saying you're doing this, but I think a lot of people blame compositions when the level 1 or the early game or laning went so badly that you never really get to see the comp. Now, in this kind of game, you know, we saw how many times Cogmores died. Now, imagine if the Pantheon was actually ahead and they could continually dive him time and time again. And they've already done enough of that. Then this game would look a lot more even. They've just not been able to get Monkey into the game. He's 5,000 gold behind, guys. 5,000 gold. I feel like there's no answer to Sion here. Shen is okay at keeping away from it. And the big thing is that you kill... Look, W aren't winning 5v5s with this comp. Absolutely. No. But they will be winning split map states with all their globals if they can. Care actually does a lot of damage there onto Monkey, actually. He almost gets that last Q on target. Here comes the Cogmore waddling his way down towards bot side. Still got a minute left of that Baron, so that'll be another 2 waves they have left to use. TF is pushing on top side. Pantheon is ulting. And he's going on towards the dragon, and he steals it. Okay, fair play. Monkey stops the Ocean Soul going over. He'll die for it, but he is going to stop the Soul going over. Now, the problem is you've just died, and there's still, you know, a minute left to Baron buff. Doesn't this mean you can't defend your base? I'm a little bit worried that NIP just break the base now. Yes, you stop the Soul, but can't they just keep sieging? They can. Use the shield to tank up the turret a little more. That's the base broken in 2 places now. They're going to get double inhibs, and Pantheon's not up for another 20 seconds. I don't think they end the game here. They might look for it. A lucky pick could do it. Hoya, very tanky. One pressing that W. The culling is pulled out. The towers are getting hit, and because Pantheon died for the Soul, it might lead to the end of the game. Here comes Kuon, and a bound goes down. Pantheon, you might have had a miracle steal, but it is still a tragic story. WE are blasted from minute 1 to minute 23. NIP, they'll like to forget game 2 as they pretty much 3-0 WE at a best of 3. How about that? NIP will secure 5th place in Group Ascend, and WE will not get themselves their 2nd series victory of the split.